From the Whitehall High School Gymnasium in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, Twin County Cable 4 Sports presents East Penn Conference Basketball. Tonight's matchup features the Vikings of Central Catholic under head coach Rich Baxa. He's in his second year as the head coach of the Vikings. They'll take on the Whitehall Zephyrs. Ron Hassler is their head coach. He's in his 9th season as the head coach at Whitehall. And the man he succeeded is right next to me, to my right. Dick Tracy, I'm Gary Laubach, and we welcome you to our 1991-92 basketball season. And we've got a great week for you. Whitehall Central tonight, Easton Allen on Friday, and we might as well go even to next Tuesday night. Dick and I will be back here for the Whitehall-Easton basketball game. So, Dick, we're not starting off with any slouches, but we come into this one tonight with two teams that are virtually unknowns now. We thought Central's lineup would be set, but they lost a couple of players in the offseason. They're not nearly as set as we thought they would be.
Well, with the loss of Jared Fry and, of course, Sean McCullough to the injury situation, that really hurt what would have been a really premier big-time game. Now they're still shopping for that last big man, Gary, the one who's going to play it inside. Right now they've been going with Miller. They wonder and they think and they hope that Fatzinger is going to get his body from football shape into basketball shape, and he eventually could be the one because of big body. But when you're going from two big inside men to one big inside man, quite a difference.
You know, when we talked to both coaches tonight, they almost told us the same identical thing, which should make the game kind of interesting. Both teams have outstanding perimeter shooters in Aldinger and Lisicki. Both teams are extremely concerned about rebounding.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that I was wishing I would find an answer to. You know, Bobby Gilbert is now on the staff down at Central Catholic, which Coach Baxa. And Bobby, if he has his way, will do something to counteract Lisicki's ability. In other words, a box or something, a diamond, something like that to sort of negate his scoring. I don't know if Richie Bax's philosophy would allow that. He's more or less, a team defense type thing. So I'm anxious to see which one of those two guys, if Bobby had anything to say and had his way a little bit. Whitehall, you just might expect some type of defense. Probably bring the match out because I don't think they want Aldinger lighting up the board.
All right, let's take a look at the starting five for Central Catholic. They're not playing nearly as many people as they did last year. Rich liked to run about 10 people in there. Last year they finished the season, Dick, with 5 juniors on the floor. But as we've already mentioned, Fry, Jared has gone to Parkland. Jason McCullough cannot play by doctor's orders, will not be available to play the entire season. So they've had to find some people, Geary and Miller being that. But Aldinger is off to a great start. He's played 2 ball games, averaging 23 a game.
Well, Richie, coming back into last year's inaugural year at Central, was so wise in that he was able to utilize 10 men. Now he has kids who normally would be shy and laid back because of their personality, but they had a full year of playing experience. So now you play a Geary. And Geary is sort of the laid-back type guard. Now you got Spang, he's the real go-get-him type guard. Both of them lettered last year, without really playing as a starting role. Spang played a starter sometime. But you got 10 kids that you've used. So the well really isn't as dry, although they're, for the most part, inexperienced.
They have two games under their belt as they were in the Strathaven tournament. They played Concord of Delaware. They lost that ball game 64-58. They played Sun Valley of Pennsylvania. They won that ball game 78-64, but really it was much worse than that. They got off to a 31-6 start in that ball game. Well, we're going to take a look at the Whitehall Zephyrs. We'll do that right after this timeout. For a good used car with low mileage, how about a good new car with nice mileage from Lehigh Valley Hyundai? New cars as low as $6,000, and your Hyundai's warranty for 3 years or 36,000 miles. And here's some more good news. For 2 years, you don't pay a dime for regularly scheduled maintenance on the all-new Elantra or Sonata. See salesperson for details. Over 400 cars and trucks at one location at prices you can afford. Lehigh Valley Hyundai, Lehigh Street Auto Mile, a Vinart dealership.
Some home equity lenders tease you with low introductory rates. Not the Money Store. Right now, we're offering qualified homeowners fixed-rate home equity loans as low as 7.5%. That means after 90 days, your low rate would be 7.5%. And after 2 years, just 7.5%. The Money Store guarantees your low fixed rate will never go up. Apply right now. 1-800-LOAN-YES. The Money Store, where America goes for money.
They're really busy at Pennsylvania Stage Company getting ready for a brand new holiday show.
That's right. Ho, 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 the Christmas show. A new musical review that takes a look at the other side of Christmas.
Like what happens when the lights on the tree don't work.
How does Santa get down that chimney anyway?
And who ate all the cookies and milk I left for Santa last Christmas?
I often ponder that same question. It's playing at the Pennsylvania Stage Company through December 29th.
So stop by and bring the whole gang.
middleweights of the 80s. Now, the first great middleweight war of the 90s as Viewer's Choice presents the TV KO Fight of the Month for December, live on pay-per-view cable TV. WBA champ Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum takes on IBF champ James Lights Out Tony. It's a classic middleweight showdown destined to make history. McCallum versus Tony. Live Friday, December 13th, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Catch all the boxing live action on Viewer's Choice.
Most of the experts pick Central Catholic to finish right around third in the league this year, behind Allen and Easton, or Easton and Allen. It depends on who you read. Most of the experts pick Whitehall to finish somewhere in the middle of the pack. Dick, is that the way you kind of see things too?
No way. That's foolish. You cannot count out the Zephyr. If you have a potential great, all-time great in Lisicki, and you got a kid who's already proved his worth. Whitehall, as I've always said, Gary, plays spots. In other words, you come to Whitehall, you don't fall in at a forward, you come in as a power forward, you come in as a point guard, and you sort of inherit that tradition. And Whitehall will play people in that respect on the court. I think Whitehall's going to be in real good shape. You know they're going to play great defense.
Dick brings up a very interesting point. Very few of these kids have much experience at all out here on the varsity level, and yet, Dick, the way the system is here at Whitehall, you just simply move the body right into the spot, and they seem to take over. Let's take a look at the starting five, and Dick will talk a little bit more about these individuals who are new to us. Clock, Brett, Zoke, and Jones are all new faces.
Well, see, here's a good comparison to begin with, Gary. Like, 10 times a night you're going to say Mulchaney instead of Clock, because they're the image of each other. They'll stand out there, and only if open they'll take that perimeter shot, and they'll hit it 8 out of 10 times. You know, they are just mirror images of almost a position that they inherit. Zoke, you're going to see a fine guard in Zoke, a good penetrating guard in Zoke. You need a little bit more stability in that backcourt. You need a Buskirk back there as a partner, one who's going to slow him down. Jones, heck of a guy. You're going to see Fetchko off the boards. Tough guy, going to kick it back out. And, of course, Lisicki, he'll do everything. Dick,
they've scrimmaged 3 people, Cheltenham, Council Rock, and they also went up against Hazleton, so they haven't had any slouches. The fact that they don't have an official game under their belt hurt them at all?
Yeah, that's tough. I would not like to open with a quality traditional team like Central Catholic. It seemed every year I opened with Central. I don't know why. But, yeah, I would really, really hate that guy, and especially at home. If I'm going to open, I'd like to be opening on the road, if the other guy has more experience than I. If you're going to take a game experience, then you might as well take it totally. Get him on the bus, get him on the road, have some bad weather, the whole bit.
There's a lot of questions to be answered coming into tonight's basketball game. We'll get in the right season. And I guess they're all going to be answered because we're going to take time out. We'll have tip-off coming your way right after this timeout.
Remember my mom going to Walter's Pharmacy? Now I go. Walter's fills my prescription needs quickly, and I pay my Bell of PA and UGI bills. When I can't get away, Walter's comes to me with free delivery. Walter's Pharmacy, making life easier through genuine care since 1937. Walter's Pharmacy, 401 North 17th Street in the Allentown Medical Center.
What are you doing here at ABE Car Care Center?
Well, I'm going to get a new muffler and a state inspection. Boy, these guys do good work, and they don't charge nearly as much as some of these other guys do.
Well, it's about time you realize that. You're such a winner, Fitz, and besides that, you're cheap.
What do you mean, cheap?
Well, I heard you got short arms and deep pockets.
But the way that you fill out those pants, you can't even get your hands in your pockets.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
Other networks show your kids commercials.
Get me that, please, please, please.
HBO tells them what commercials are all about.
What if you actually believed that commercial and bought everything?
If your kids can't live without that expensive toy.
Is what you see always what you get?
Or those high-priced sneakers.
Like a little bit of their magic will rub off on you if you buy them.
Get the facts on how to make them better consumers when HBO and Consumer Reports bring you Buy Me That Too.
Is undercover, under fire, undertaking his toughest assignment yet. All-American Brian Bosworth is charging into your home in Stone Cold. The excitement never stops on Viewer's Choice. Oh! Explosive action is yours for the asking when you order Stone Cold on Viewer's Choice.
All right, we welcome you back to Whitehall Gymnasium, and we've got a little bit of explaining to do to you. But let's explain this at the moment. Whitehall is leading by a 9-0 score. Now let's set the scene. With about 5 minutes to go in warm-ups, an entire panel of electricity blew here at Whitehall Gymnasium. There are no clocks available. There is no scoreboard available, and we lost all of our power too. So we have been able to come back. We think there is about 5 minutes to go in the first period. The kind of period that it's been all Whitehall. Whitehall is up by a 9-0 score. Lisicki hit a jumper. Jones hit a layup. Zoke hit a jumper. And Lisicki another jumper. And there's the first field goal of the night by Central Catholic's Bob Miller. And it's now a 9-2 score. To show you how strange the night has been to this point, Pete Lisicki took a layup that stayed on the rim and just simply laid up there. So Dick Tracy, this is going to be as weird a game. We have no monitors, so we'll do the best we can to tell you what we're watching, maybe not necessarily what you are watching. At the moment, Central is 1 for 5 shooting. Whitehall leads the ball game 9-2.
Whitehall's been really just doing a lot of screening down, Gary, and so far they've been getting an awful lot of shots at the foul line. Central Catholic's in a straight man-to-man. Whitehall's doing a lot of rolling. You see the roll there, and Jones goes around for 2. They got him out of bounds. They got a turnover first. Up at the other end, Central really has not gotten a good shot. Whitehall came out in their traditional match, and that's what you're seeing from both ends.
And we get our monitor back, so things coming back on a gradual basis. We may even have a clock here by the second quarter. There's Aldinger, and he makes his first jumper. He's 1 for 3 in the shooting department, and Central now crawling their way back into this ball game. They trail by a 9-4 score. Dick, before we go too long here, we better get into some of the rule changes so that everybody's aware of some of those things that are different than last year.
Okay, Gary, there are only a few, and we'll go through them as the ball's being passed around by the Zephyr. First of all, the big one is 1-and-1 fouls are shot on the 7th foul of each half. Very, very similar to college. The only difference being is that any technical that's called on the players also counts to the team total. All technical fouls are 2 shots. The other big one, Gary, is there is no more lack of action. You can stand there forever and a day as long as you're not closely guarded. And that's the big change.
A rule that came into effect in the Easton-Reading game, where Reading held the basketball for 2.5 minutes, and I mean held the ball. One guy stood out front and held the ball on his hip. Foul's going to be called on Andy Stevens. His first. That's the 3rd team foul against Central. And now the scoreboard is working. I'm not sure if the clock's working. It is not. But at least the numbers are up there. 9-4 is the score.
You know, at this time, Gary, because they're away from home, you know, the Vikes want to worry just a little bit here. Because, as you said already, look at they're getting loose for a real easy shot. A jumper at the top of the circle, some easy shooting underneath. I tell you, they're really picking that man-to-man apart.
Dick, my next question, maybe you already answered it. I am very surprised when any team plays Whitehall man-to-man, only because they run such a great man-to-man offense. But Central is a team that wants to run and get open space shots this year, and that may be why they're trying to force play.
Well, that's why I said to you, Gary, in the pregame, I said Gilbert is going to talk to Coach Baxa, and which one's going to have the most input here? Because I know Bobby, and I know Bobby's personality. He would want to do some kind of box or triangle or something else. And right now, Central's going to go straight up man-to-man. The Zeps are going to get shots unless they play slough-off like that.
Jones, easy. 11-4 Whitehall, 1 minute and 35 seconds as I guess Pete P&L is just gradually getting us all back together here. The clock is now working also. So we apologize for what happened, but in all honesty, folks, we had absolutely no control over the situation. Oh, there's the basket. It's good by Stevens, and the foul is going to be called on Matt Zoke.
Great basketball move by Andy Stevens. Went back door from the left wing. Got himself a layup. Zoke trailed and fouled. Possible three-point play. I'll tell you what the what the Vikes got to be really, really alert for, Gary, he's getting himself into a one-on-one situation early, too, because you know what the Zephyrs can do from the foul line.
The major problem Central's had this year has been turnovers. They have averaged 22.5 turnovers in the 2 games that they have played. I would not expect that kind of situation here tonight because Whitehall doesn't play pressure-type defense. They come back, play the matchup, obviously, and they force you to take some hard shots. There's Lisicki.
Now that was a good slough defense that time. A lot of help.
Lisicki for 3.
That's automatic. See, when you double, Gary, when you double and leave your man to play slough on that run and jump stuff, someone's going to be open, and Whitehall's good enough passers to find them.
Whitehall 14, Central 7. Down inside, off the glass. Stevens threw the pass. The shot missed by Miller. Inside, that shot won't go by Geary. Way outside Aldinger.
Lehigh bound, Jeff Aldinger.
That was a 3-pointer, so Lisicki and Aldinger, the 2 deadly shooters in the league this year, matched 3-point shots. Dick, this is typically where Whitehall will play for only 1 shot.
Yep, run it down. They're doing that now, Gary. They're starting to screen down with Jones high. Actually, it's a 4-man game with a permanent post. Now, they don't have an opposite side. He'll just screen down. The next man will pop out.
Dick, I found it interesting that I cannot imagine Whitehall playing a game without the ability to see the clock because they play the clock so well. That shot by Jones won't go. Good, strong rebound by Miller. That shot will not count. Stolen away by Zoke. We've played 1 quarter. We've shown you about half of it. It's 14-10 Whitehall. We hope we've got the rest of the ball game for you. Stay with us.
Make Whitehall Auto Parts the most important stop for your car. We're a major supplier of foreign and domestic auto and light truck parts and have one of the largest inventories in the Lehigh Valley. We also provide machine shop services and are equipped for complete engine rebuilding. Whitehall Auto Parts stands behind their products. Make your next stop at Whitehall Auto Parts, 2741 MacArthur Road in Whitehall. We're open weekdays 8 to 8, Saturday 8 to 4, and Sunday 9 to 4. Or phone 437-4604.
At last, a place where the entire family can have a great time. Baseball fans, test your skill at hardball or softball, where you hit to an open range. Or take advantage of our baseball instruction program. There's basketball, volleyball, speedball, video games, a children's party area, and a full-service snack bar at the Lehigh Valley's newest and largest family fun center, the Hitter's Edge, located just off MacArthur Road on Eberhard Road, 1 mile north of Route 22.
Sergeant Nick Pulofsky's got problems. His partner's been killed by a bloodthirsty band of car thieves. And now this.
Nick, that was your new partner.
You're kidding me. They're on the trail of killers. This is where the fun starts. And the rookie is learning. Good work, kid. Now read them their rights. But when they kidnap Nick, he gets all fired up. Fasten your seatbelt. Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen, the rookie.
Hello, I'm Watson Skinner, host of Community Spotlight. I'd like to invite you to tune in Tuesday, 7:30, Thursday, 6:30. See what's happening in the Twin County area that makes us such a vital, dynamic community.
You're viewing Twin County Cable 4, your choice for community programming in the Lehigh Valley.
Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic is located at 1730 Chew Street in Allentown. They offer the team approach to the athletic injury. They've been providing medical care to area high school athletes for over 10 years. The Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic, located across from the fairgrounds on the west end of Allentown. In that first quarter, Central Catholic 4 for 13 shooting the basketball. Whitehall, much better, Dick, 6 out of 12.
That's right. And the other thing, we started to get into that foul line talk, Gary. Central already committed their third. Now, the Zephyrs, of course, the expanded rule puts it up near 7. But if the Zephyrs do get to the foul line, that's more gravy because they shoot so well. And in addition, they simply don't allow their opponents to get there. When you're playing Whitehall, don't look to go to the foul line.
We had an excellent JV game here tonight. The highly touted Central Catholic JVs beat the Whitehall Zephyrs, but they played a strong game too by a 56-52 score. It was an outstanding JV game. The scoreboard is now official. The referees are going over to talk to the bench or to the scoring table. And again, let's set the lineups for you since we didn't have the time to do that. For Central Catholic, 22 is Brendan Geary, a 6'1 senior, averaging 9 points a game this year. 52 is Bob Miller, a 6'4 junior, 8.5 a game. These are all current scoring averages for the Vikings. They've played 2 games. 33, Andy Stevens, 6'2, a senior, 12 points a game. 34, Jeff Aldinger. He's got 46 points in 2 games. That's 23 a game. And 42, Greg Spang, a 5'9 junior, 7.5 a game. For Whitehall, they haven't played any games. They have no scoring average, obviously. Number 20 is Jeff Clark, a 6-foot senior. 32, Pete Lisicki, a 6'3 sophomore. 40 is Jamie Bretz, a 6'1 senior. 44, Matt Zoke, a 5'11 junior. And 50, Steve Jones, a 6'5 senior.
And the Zephyrs are going with Joe Bacher now, Gary. Number 42, he's in there replacing Jamie Bretz. Central's going a nice high-low game, Gary. They love to throw an entry pass high. Pivot turns around, looks, and then dishes underneath the man slashing. Andy Stevens has played tremendously well on Central's 1-3-1 underman offense.
And that's Stevens with the basketball. He can't get it away. Blocked by Jones. Good defense by Whitehall. But again, Central Catholic controls the basketball. Almost lost by Spang. And they'll go perimeter against the match. Turnaround, jump shot, Stevens. That won't go off the back of the iron. Jones with a rebound.
And that's Tim Cramsey, number 50, and now for Miller for the Vikings.
All right, so both coaches going to their bench just a bit. With the basketball, that is Bacherer. He wears number 42. Down the lane goes Zoke. Zoke can't get it on the glass. Jones is there, up and in.
Boy, Steve Jones, if he was a question mark, you'd never know it because, boy, he has been a value offensively, especially on those offensive boards.
Stevens from about 12 feet away won't go, and there's what Dick's talking about. A Jones rebound.
I'll tell you, Gary, Whitehall loves those quick shots. They'll let you shoot those things all day.
This kid right here will have a lot of pressure on him this year. Jeff Clark is going to be counted on to bring that ball up the floor. This is Zoke. Down inside Jones, great pass. Whitehall by 8, 18-10. Jones in the ball game has 9 already. Aldinger, he wants the shot, can't get it. Good defense. Tries to pass inside, won't go. Ball, who's got it? Stolen away by the Zeps. This is clock. 6:14, second period, 18-10 Whitehall. All right, again, power was lost as we get a shot on the inside, taken and made by Stevens. And we'll explain once again at the 6:14 mark of the second period with a score 18-10. Power again went out here at Whitehall for us. Did not go out all over the gymnasium. The game continued. Halftime score was 24-18. We will give you the halftime scorers in just a second when we get an opportunity. There's a missed shot by Jones. And we do want to tell you that our halftime statistics, when you see them, are brought to you by Rarick Dodge, Chrysler's 5-star quality dealer in Bath with over 60 years of experience in the sales and service of quality Dodge products. Roger, Joan, and Gary are waiting to assist you in your next vehicle purchase. They're easy to find from anywhere in the Lehigh Valley. Just exit Route 22 onto Route 512. Turn right. It's minutes to Rarick Dodge. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5. For a clean deal, come to Bath. The next stoppage of play. In fact, let's throw the numbers up there right now. We can probably put them as an overlay. And these are the halftime statistics. And Dick Tracy very impressed with the play of Jones. Lisicki had a good first half. Aldinger missed quite a few shots, but did put some numbers up.
Yeah, Central Catholic almost got away with something in the transition, Gary. And that's one of the things that they rely on. They haven't gotten anything there. I'll tell you, Whitehall's baskets and points have all been easy. Central's have all come from perimeter, and they've been running a nice little 1-3-1 set where the high man throws low, but haven't been making that shot. Andy Stevens is going to be a key force inside. Right now, Whitehall's doing a lot of shuffling on their offense, Gary, against that man-to-man, forcing Central to switch, and they could continue to get some easy layups.
In there for Whitehall, Clark has the basketball. Lisicki wears 32. 44 is Zoke. 42 in there is Baccarat. With the ball is Jones, slapped away by Aldinger. Aldinger does have 2 personal fouls. There's a good, quick move by Zook.
Each one of the teams, Gary, has a change in starters for the second half. It's Cramsey for Miller for the Vikes, and it's Baccarat for Bretz for the Zephyrs.
All right, so let's give you the others for Central. Spang was 42 with the basketball. Tries to throw it inside to Geary. He does a nice job of saving it back to Stevens, who's wearing 33. Stevens on his second effort is fouled. As Dick said, Tim Cramsey is in there. And, of course, Jeff Aldinger is the other starter. The foul is going to be called on Jeff Clark, his first.
I'll tell you, Andy Stevens is going to be a force inside. Now, he's going to have to hang in the air, Gary, and really use the power part of his body for those three-point plays. He must convert some of those makeable baskets.
Jamie Brett's back into the lineup for Whitehall as he replaces Baccarat at the foul line. Is Andy Stevens. Stevens has had a strong game. He's 2 for 2 from the line. He has 8 points in the ball game. And again, this game started late tonight because of the replay of the Easton High football game. But Dick, it may also be our shortest game on the air.
You know, another thing, Gary, that we talked about in pregame about how both coaches are still groping for that 5th man. You notice that with all the subs we've seen so far, good help defense, Stephen. Of all the defensive changes we've seen so far, actually they've only subbed at one spot. They've subbed for 1 man. Central with 2 guys, Whitehall with 3. But other than that, their 4 other starters have all stayed in.
A big salute to Mike Trombetta and Scott Spielman as they have been running around here trying to get this thing back on the air through no fault of their own. And they have managed to scurry and do just that. So great job by those guys. Great job inside by Steve Jones. He has 11.
Steve Jones has learned how to post himself. And I'll tell you, he could be a force if he gets it in low and tight the way he's getting it now. One of the things I had explained to that young man is don't worry about the 20-foot perimeter. Just get inside and post and play from 5 feet in.
Nice outside shot for 3 by Stevens. That's the 3rd three-pointer of the ball game by the Vikings. Aldinger has 2. Stevens now with 1. Stevens has 12 points. 28, 25, 4:40, 3rd period. Dick, I would have to think that a game like this for Jones in the opening game of the season just would be a great confidence booster for him.
And how, you know, here you are, you're playing the Vikings of all that tradition, and, you know, you're more than holding your own, and as a big surplus, scoring in double figures.
Whitehall shot 45% in the first half. Central only 27% off the good Whitehall matchup defense. Lysicki, he's deadly. You cannot leave him alone.
Yeah, they seem to have alternate weapons, Gary. They really do. The one thing I see now bothering the Zephyrs might be some ball handling. And I'll tell you, even if that occurs by a good pressing team, I'm sure Lysicki's going to be able to bring the ball or help bring the ball up against pressure.
Central Catholic has already missed 22 shots in this ball game compared to only 13 by Whitehall. Whitehall leads 31-25.
Zeph's going back to their double stack now, Gary. Not afraid to play with the clock.
They used this a bit in the second period. Good strong move. Not a good strong shot, but there's Jones. He's fouled. Fouls on Cramsey.
I'll tell you, Jones has done more than a yeoman's job on the board. We have really seen him on both ends.
Steve Jones, 5 field goals, 1 for 2 from the foul line. For Cramsey, that was his first foul. First team foul of the second half. Whitehall did get Central into a 1-and-1. About 3 minutes to go in the second period. Whitehall only committed 3 team fouls in that first half. Sitting down is Cramsey. Back into the ball game, Fatzinger. Strange foul shot, Dick.
Yes. Yes, appears to shoot it really wide.
Sort of flicks the wrist as opposed to the smooth follow through. Andy Stevens, yes, for 3.
All summer long, I used to see Andy 3-4 times a week, and he's telling me, I'm a 3-point shooter, coach. I'm a 3-point shooter. I used to get in there in blue collar.
That gets you healthy very quickly. 32-28. watching Kentucky on Saturday, Dick. That's their forte. Indiana works like a dog to get a layup, and they come down and shoot a three-pointer and be up by 1.
Well, you got to know that Bobby Knight walks away frustrated from that one.
Pretty good defense that time by Spang. Got away maybe with a walk. Stevens, what a play. No. Offensive foul. Andy Stevens.
Well, I tell you, Gary, 2 nice plays. A nice pass, a nice shot. The interim in between, well, that's in Mr. Spangler's hands.
A game of inches sometimes. That could have been a 3-point play for Central. Turns out to take the points away. Whitehall loses the ball again. Spang. They'll hold things up, get it to Aldinger. Aldinger goes to Geary. Way outside. Aldinger.
The Vikes have been playing catch-up, Gary, most of the game, and I'll tell you, they're within 1 now. The last 2 Zephyr possessions were turnovers. They're going back to that double stack. They try to rub a man off. Look for the Vikes to continue their switch.
32, 31, 2, 12 to go. Third period. Zoke drops it off. Fouls on Aldinger. Dick, that's his third.
Yeah, they switched off, Gary. I don't think they wanted to switch. No coach usually likes to switch, especially off that dribble inside, Gary. And that's what the Zepps got that time, and Aldinger committed one of those touch fouls.
He now has to be careful. Another foul, and he'll sit for a bit. Zoke back outside, setting things up his clock. Lysicki will set a low screen for Brett. Here comes Lysicki off the screen. Can't get it. Good defense by the Vikings. Try to go to Jones. He's got the basketball. Nowhere to go with it. Stevens with a steal.
That's 3 straight turnovers, Gary. I'll tell you what they're doing. They're still playing man-to-man. Now, Spang's playing slough-off totally, and that Geary is denying. A total denial on Lysicki, looking for help if he goes by him.
Spang, no. Rebound. Controlled by Zoke.
Boy, he had a good dribble to get by. Might have been better just to lay that one up.
So the Vikings had an opportunity to take the lead. They trailed in this ball game when we started by a 9-0 score. They're to within 1. 1:08 on the clock.
Boy, Geary's doing a good job of defense on Lysicki, Gary. There's a double.
Down inside. Good defense. A lot of help defense, Dick, as you mentioned.
4 consecutive. Nope, out of bounds. Last 3 possessions, they didn't get a shot, Gary. See, that last time they wanted Fatzinger to step in front of the post.
They're catching the ball in some bad spots on the floor. There's a shot taken by Zoke. Won't go.
Yeah, I don't know if Ronnie wanted that or not, Gary, especially looking at that clock under 1.
One would think he did not want it. 40 seconds were on the clock at the time. He usually plays for 1. Can the Vikings take the lead for the first time going into the 4th period? They've got 28 seconds on the clock. They're looking to play for 1.
Zepps stay in match. They won't come out.
Nor do they have to come out. Final 10 seconds. Down inside, Andy Stevens. No. Ball still alive. Stevens, yes!
Pretty good job by Fatzinger.
The Vikings have the lead. 33-32. 1 period to go. Stay with us. We'll be back.
I'm George Attia, president of the WOW Outlet Store. Here at the WOW Outlet, we carry top quality brand name sportswear at 30 to 70% below retail every day. This season, you'll find big league names such as Russell Athletic, Chalkline, Adidas, Reebok, and much, much more. At WOW, we have something for everyone, with infant sizes to adult 6 extra large. For the best savings in Pennsylvania, visit the WOW Outlet near you.
pencils, everyone. Action! Can your TV pass this simple screen test? Do you get cable TV with Showtime movie exclusives like Misery and Three Men and a Little Lady? And who else can entertain you like Showtime can? Do you get blockbuster hits like Jacob's Ladder and Postcards from the Edge? Can you see a movie anytime you want one? You can with the Movie Channel. Showtime and the Movie Channel. We entertain you like no one can.
We know that cleaning out your unwanted items creates a new problem. What to do with the waste? Let Marth's Disposal Service be the solution. Hard to dispose of items such as appliances, car parts, furniture, and yard waste are no problem for Marth's. No job too large or too small. They'll take care of just about anything except your ex-spouse. Call Marth's Disposal Service at 262-9021.
Gary, I certainly am in echo with the job that Scott and Mike have done and the crew. You know, these are certainly diverse circumstances to work under. And while I'm handing out plaudits, I better congratulate Joe Kagas, Richie Lagath, and their staff of people here at Whitehall. This is one refurbished gymnasium. This thing looks beautiful. New floor, paint all around, just looks sharp. Good job, men.
And Dick extremely happy that he was not the AD here tonight. It's Whitehall basketball. For the first time, they look at that scoreboard and find themselves down by 1. They have not trailed all night. So that Andy Stevens bucket. Stevens has 17 so far in the ball game. Jones, no. Strong rebound by Fatzinger.
Fatzinger has helped them. You know, and he seems to know his role, Gary, too. You know, his board man, get in there and mix it up.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a finesse outside jump shooter.
No, Stevens has played so well, though, in the second half. He's gone both inside and outside.
Aldinger down in the corner. This is Spang. Stevens has been a key. Now the Vikings a little bit more patient than they've been most of this ball game.
Well, with this set, they're going to have to get Spang outside with Geary. There they are now.
Stevens.
See, they want to bring Whitehall out of that match, Gary.
Foul. It's going to be on clock, his second. Obviously a little early to get them out of that match. That's their defense.
Now, this might be one of those times when the less number of fouls might be in your favor, Gary. You know, continue to get the ball possession-wise rather than have to shoot.
Easton again had this problem against Reading. We hate to keep bringing the game up, but there are a lot of similarities in what Dick is talking about. Easton only had 1 team foul and needed the basketball. They couldn't get it. They had to commit 5 more fouls before sending Reading to the line. Shot by Aldinger doesn't go. There's Jones again. But as Dick has mentioned, the last 3, 4, 5 times down the floor, Whitehall has not been able to put the ball down. How about Lisicki?
See, you can't let him, if you're going to deny him, Gary, you can't let him have the ball in the back court because there's so much room to operate. That's when he can go 1-on-1. And if he gets that situation, then you better be playing a lot of help D.
Good pass outside. Spang almost had the shot, decided not to take it. Whitehall by 1, 34-33, 6:04 to go in the ball game. Aldinger, no, good stop, good baseline defense by Zoke. Calling their second timeout of the evening, Rich Baxa and the Central Catholic Vikings. So we'll call our second official timeout of the evening. Stay with us.
We really view ourselves as a full-service dealership. We have a body shop. We have $1 million parts department. We have a full reconditioning center. We can service your car no matter what it needs. We only employ the best technicians, and our people have the tools, the product knowledge, and the training to give you the very best service possible. And you can get all that quality with really not having to spend any more money, and that's the bottom line.
They're really busy at Pennsylvania Stage Company getting ready for a brand new holiday show.
That's right. Ho, 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 the Christmas show. A new musical review that takes a look at the other side of Christmas.
Like what happens when the lights on the tree don't work.
How does Santa get down that chimney anyway?
And who ate all the cookies and milk I left for Santa last Christmas?
I often ponder that same question. It's playing at the Pennsylvania Stage Company through December 29th.
So stop by and bring the whole gang.
What do you do when a summer house guest
Hi, I'm Bob.
becomes a real house pest?
Come on, Bob, get up. Bob!
You can take him boating.
I'm sailing! Keep sailing, Bob.
Take him jogging. And if he still doesn't take the hint, what are you doing with the rifle? Take no chances.
Yes, therapy, Bob.
Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss. What about Bob?
People have wanted me to leave, but no one's ever wanted to kill me. How do you know?
Viewer's Choice makes it easy to bring home the laughs with the PG-rated comedy, What About Bob?
For a pleasant, no-pressure car buying experience in Chrysler 5-star quality service after the sale. Stop at Rarick Dodge in Bath. Let Roger, Joan, or Gary assist you in your next vehicle purchase Monday through Friday, 9 to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They won't just sell you any car or truck. They'll help you select the right vehicle for you. Easy to find from anywhere in the Lehigh Valley. Just exit Route 22 on the Route 512, turn right. It's just minutes to Rarick Dodge. Remember, for a clean deal, come to Bath, come to Rarick Dodge.
You know, Gary, it must be a psychological factor for a team to come in. Here's Central coming off the Strathaven tournament. They averaged 68 offensively, giving up 64 defensively down there, and find themselves in a 34-33, low 30s game with under six minutes to go. That's a tough situation.
Must be playing Whitehall. They are. 34-33. A reminder, our first official This Week in Basketball show Friday night at 9:30. Dick and Bob will be there, as they will be every week, and I'll just join them for a little bit of a chat looking at the season, and we'll follow that up with Easton Allen at ball game at the Easton Red Rover Gymnasium. Next Tuesday night, we'll be back here for Easton Whitehall, and Dick and I will be here to bring you that ball game.
Yeah, Friday I'm on special assignment, Gary. I got to go out and check Kemeter out and see how the Hawks is, see if he can bite anybody out there at Parkland.
So Dan Marakovitz will be sitting in on Friday night down at Easton. Dan has a special way of talking to Stan Suffin anyway.
Is that right?
Yeah. That jump shot by Spang doesn't go. There's the follow-up that will not go for Fatzinger.
See, now that's twice. Once before, Gary, about a minute ago, you know, you're talking about a big three-point shot. I mean, a big one with a one-point lead. Now you're talking about a super offensive rebound that perhaps maybe you just want to turn around, kick it outside, and start the offense all over again.
And, you know, I think Bob Fatzinger would agree with you, Dick. He's kind of angry at himself for taking the shot right after he took it. Lisicky, can he get another? He does.
He shoots at the elevation, at the peak of his jump shot. Little pressure now. It's just token pressure.
Dick, there's no question who prime time is for Whitehall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a move by Stevens. He has 17. Make it 19.
Now, what the Zephyrs want off their token pressure, guy, they want Central to take the quick shot. That just might be up Central's alley. That might be what they want to do.
A driving shot that won't go by Clock. He gets the ball back. Fires that one up, won't go. Jones skies. Is Jones fouled? Yes, he is. Fouls on Spang.
Greg Spang has the toughest defensive job on the court. Central is playing three-man man-to-man. They're playing a denial on Lisicky with Geary, and they have Spang roaming the top of that room, and he's just picking up anything in action. He is all over the place.
He's like a UFO out there.
You got it.
And with his size, he is almost unidentified. Jones from the foul line. He's 2 for 4 tonight with that unusual flick of the wrist.
He's not confident, Gary. Lots of confidence on the line.
It's been a long time since we've seen a Zephyr team 6 for 11 from the line. Their percentage usually much higher.
Now let's see the set. Check this offensive set. They're going with a three-man perimeter outside, Gary. Fatzinger will stay tight. Andy will run corner to corner. So it's like a 1-3-1 set again. But they don't have the high guy to feed it.
Aldinger wants the shot. Fires to nobody. (36-35). That's like an audible in football where somebody doesn't pick up the signal.
That's right.
Outside Clock. Hounded by Spang. Lisicky.
And speaking of Clock, that's what the Zephyrs are playing now, guy, with that double stack. There's a cut through to Jones.
Jones, he gets bodied. He loses the basketball. A subtle little push gotten away with by Fatzinger. Lost out of bounds. Critical possessions being lost by both teams.
Central not playing polished, Gary. You know what I mean? It's really not die in the wall inside your body defense either. You know, it's more token than anything else. And it seems like they're trying to rush it a little bit.
Early season mistakes here. Central, they're 1-1 on the season. This is Whitehall's first game of the year. Up and in by Zote. 38-35, a 3-point. Whitehall leads. Out of bounds. Whitehall basketball.
Boy, the Vikes come right back with 2 big turnovers, guys.
Dick, they're going through a spell similar to Whitehall's spell. Right. They're at the end of the third period. Clock. Isn't it appropriate to have a clock running Whitehall's offense? Lisecki. Boy, is he hounded. Spang, he is working. Down to Jones.
See, the clock's still not their enemy, Gary.
Down inside, turnaround, Fatzinger.
Boy, he knows his spot. That little left-handed fadeaway.
Well, if we had to miss any part of this game, we're glad we didn't miss this part. 38-37. Almost lost. Bretz gets it back. Down inside, Jones. He's got position. He's got the shot. He is fouled.
You know, boy, it's almost ironic that time Central played too good a defense. They actually overplayed their man and ended up with a turnover that went back to the Zephyrs because they had already passed the ball defensively.
The foul was on Aldinger, and that's his 4th. Big foul shot here by Jones. He can put Whitehall up by 4, which necessitates 2 more Central Catholic possessions. We're at the 2:10 mark. Stevens has been quiet for about 5 minutes. Stevens in the corner. Jump shot. No. Rebound. Tap. No. Rebound. Zote.
Now he could have caught that one, Gary, going back up. Now they got to extend their man.
Normally, this is where Whitehall loves to have you. Up by 4 with 1:40 to go. But it's a new team, a team that does not have very much floor experience. Let's see how they handle the pressure. Remember, Aldinger has 4 fouls.
Wow.
Lisicki. Jumper. Yeah.
Oh, Gary, he actually looked away from the basket.
Lisicki with 17, and we've got a foul. No shot foul. I think it's going to be on number 40. It is. Jamie Bretz, his first, team's 3rd. Dick, a critical possession by Central right here. Timeout called by Whitehall. We'll be back. 1:13. The Zephyrs are up by 6.
A father's death.
A play's the thing, wherein I catch the conscience of the king.
A mother's deceit.
Have you forgotten me?
You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nathan.
A son's revenge.
Now could I drink hot blood.
Mel Gibson, Glenn Close, Alan Bates in a Franco Zeffirelli film, Hamlet.
This is Jolly Joe Timmer reminding you to watch the Jolly Joe Timmer Show right here on Cable 4, Twin County in the Lehigh Valley, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. That's the Jolly Joe Timmer Show for the best in polka music.
You are watching the Lehigh Valley's company of choice, Twin County Cable 4.
Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic provides medical care, and they've done it to area high school athletes for over 10 years. The Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic, located across from the fairgrounds in the west end of Allentown, 1732 Street. A team approach to the athletic injury. I'm going to put Dick Tracy in a very unusual position in the central huddle.
Okay. Not too bad in here, Gary. I like this talent. No, seriously, you're down to 113 now. Now you want to go up. You look for the 3 on your first pass. If it isn't there, take the drive, draw the foul, anything that would then stop the clock. After that, come to your full court pressure, looking to double the ball. You got to keep the ball out of the middle. Use the sideline as the extra man to help you trap.
All right, Whitehall called the timeout, so we'll put Dick in a more familiar position in the Whitehall huddle.
Fog the ball, Gary. Fog the ball with Brett. Don't let it in too easily. Take a little bit of time off that clock. Token pressure, then come back to your match. We're going to go with a 3/4 court pressure.
All right, we'll watch the clock for you. It's at 1:08. Spang goes baseline, right straight through. Aldinger. Aldinger's thinking about the shot. There is the shot. He's got it. Unbelievable. Off the glass. He has 13. 43-39.
I don't know about the man press, Gary. You only get one guy on it. Got to look for the double. There's one double. There's a change.
Thrown away. Aldinger has the basketball. They can cut the lead to 2, a 3-pointer to 1. Andy Stevens. Yes. Stevens with 21. 43-41. Thrown away.
See, Gary, what you do offensively there, you always got to throw to the middle. There must be a middleman coming up to help out so that those backcourt guards or backcourt performers simply don't have to look that far. You're looking over too many people. If you know there's a bust-up man right smack in the middle of the court, that's where you go.
There are the numbers. We know you won't go away. We'll be back.
What are we doing here at ABE Car Care Center?
By getting the machine inspected. The sticker runs out tomorrow.
You always wait till the last minute.
Oh, stop your moaning. Besides, I got to get the brakes checked. It hasn't been stopping so good lately.
Stop. I wish I could get you to stop.
Get me to stop what?
Stop eating.
Don't bug me. I got enough confidence in me for the both of us.
You've got enough everything in you for the both of us.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
Right now, the Money Store is offering qualified homeowners fixed-rate home equity loans as low as 7.5%. We guarantee with our 7.5% loan, your rate will never go up. Call the Money Store, 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Unwanted items create a problem. What do you do with the waste? Let Marth's Disposal Service be the solution. Hard to dispose of items, appliances, car parts, furniture, yard waste. No problem for Marth's. No job too large, too small. Call Marth's Disposal Service at 262-9021. Dick, we talked about the inexperience of this Whitehall team. Only Lisicki with real floor time last year. Right in this critical situation, it has shown.
Yeah, well, what happened, Gary, is that the ball's in the hand of the wrong person. You know, that's really what happened. I don't know if that's, wanted that way out of the out of bounds or not. But right now I look at the Vikes. What do we have going here? Are you going for 2 or are you going for 3? Because I saw them last year in the same situation against Speedberg. Wouldn't you know, a 3 by Aldinger instead of a 2?
They've got 2 good 3-point shooters in Aldinger and Stevens. One would think, however, that they would go for the tie here. Let's see what happens. 15 seconds. Spang. Aldinger for 3. It won't go. Jones with a rebound. He's fouled.
Boy, the amazing thing about it, Gary, was that he got it pretty easily. I'll tell you, that was a pretty nice shot.
That's only the 6th team foul, no shot. 10 seconds, the new rule, Dick, having its effect. So Central will have to foul immediately. There's the foul.
That was the other thing we wanted to stress, Gary, too. Did Central want to go for last shot? If you're going 3, then I'm going last. No doubt about it. If I'm going for the win, I'm certainly not going to work that hard and not give the other team a chance to, to handle the ball again.
I was very surprised, Dick, that they decided to go for 3 at all, unless you're forced to do it by the pressure on the inside. But they still had plenty of time on the clock, did the Vikings. Aldinger did have an open shot, and he is a good 3-point shooter. That one did not go down. It will be a Whitehall 1-and-1 situation.
And now the Zephyrs are going to take their big man off the board, Gary. They're going to count on Clock to make it. If he does, they're going to give token pressure with their guards. Clock is a pretty good foul shooter.
Central calls timeout. Will call timeout. 9 seconds, 43-41. Whitehall's clock is on the foul line.
This holiday season, Viewer's Choice delivers the perfect gift for fathers and sons.
Showtime, Pete! Make your move!
Before the glory.
You're smart, you'll quit.
Before the fame.
Who is the best basketball player ever?
There was a young boy with a dream.
You tell me, Pop.
Based on the true life story of basketball legend Pete Maravich, Viewer's Choice presents The Pistol. Dads, share something special with your family. Order The Pistol on Viewer's Choice.
All right, we are back. It'll be Jeff Clock on the foul line. He has all of his points from the foul line tonight. He is 3 for 4. All of those foul shots taken in the second period, and I don't believe Clock has taken a shot this entire half.
Well, no, he won't. As I said, he's the image of Greg Mulchaney. If it's there, I'll take it, but I will not force or will not make a mistake to do it. A pretty heady young man. I think he or Lisicki just may be the right perfect people at the line for the Zephyrs now.
Now, if Clock only makes 1, Central certainly has the capabilities with 9 seconds on the clock to tie this ball game up. It is not unusual for me to be sitting alongside of Dick Tracy and have an overtime basketball game. In fact, it's more of the usual than the unusual. Watch and listen. 1-and-1.
Central gets a little more board in there, Gary, with Cramsey and Fatzinger.
That one makes it difficult. The Vikings will call a timeout again. That's their final timeout of the ball game. We're going to take our final timeout of the ball game. Stay with us.
The action be without cable? In just 1 month, a subscription to cable gives you over 1,200 hours of sports programming you wouldn't be able to see anywhere else. Cable contributes to life.
All right, to recap for you, after all the electrical problems which forced us to miss part of period number 1, about the last half of period number 2, we're glad you stayed with us. Whitehall led at the end of 1 period 14-10. They led at halftime 24-18. The Vikings came back and got their first lead of the basketball game at the end of 3 periods 33-32. Right now Whitehall up by 3. They're on the foul line to shoot 1. 9 seconds on the clock. Dick, a miss here. The Vikings still have a shot.
That's right, Gary. Then, of course, you got the 9-second. The thing that you could worry about, of course, no more timeouts left. Now you make this one. Whitehall runs some token defense. Let you dribble down. Let it fall through. Don't even play the ball. Because there are no more going to stop the clocks unless you draw the technical.
Dick, is this an indication how the East Penn Conference is going to go this year? The game's going to be tight?
Could very easily be. Because you know the people that are going to play Whitehall, it's going to be close, Gary. You're going to be in it, but it's going to be awful close. And, of course, Central can run. Easton, Allen, yeah, you're going to see a well-balanced league.
Other games being played tonight in the East Penn League. Easton at Liberty, Freedom at Allen, Northampton at Emmaus, and Deerfield at Parkland. Colonial League starts tonight. Nazareth at Wilson, Penargil Saucon, Bangor at Caddy, Southern Lehigh at Palisades. Here's the big shot. It won't go. That's a pretty good play, huh?
That might be a good foul.
They're still not in a
No,
shot
forces
situation.
you out, forces you on the side.
Smart play by Ronnie Hassler. And that man right there, Pete Lisicki.
You might want to do that 3 more times.
I agree. You don't want to foul on the three-point shot, however. It's in! Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
Off balance, off the wrong foot, leaning away, and bombs away. Oh, Gary. What a way to force overtime. It's all you have. You have no timeouts. You have hardly any seconds on the clock. Here it comes, Gary. Call it.
Dick, I only can reflect back on Lisicki's shot that laid on the rim and stayed there.
That's right.
That shot goes down. No time on the clock. 44, 44, unbalanced, unbelievable.
I'll tell you, what it did too is it awakened the Central crowd, Gary. They've been pretty dormant. What do you know? We got 2 student bodies now, Gary.
The 4th three-pointer of the night by Aldinger. None crazier than that one.
Bob Miller going to make a first appearance in a long time, Gary, and they won't let him in. See, now they're saying, hey, coach, you had him on the sideline here. Why didn't you get him in on a timeout? We marked the ball ready for play. We won't let him in. Got to bring Fatzinger back in. They might want to be fogging the ball right now.
Well, I was trying to get my stats up to date, Dick. Why wouldn't they let him in?
Well, because they marked the ball ready for play.
Oh, okay.
The officials already marked it in,
all right,
and they blew the horn inadvertently. See, they wanted Miller there with a big frame to fog that ball, knowing there's only 1 second left.
Now we will officially go to overtime, and we'll take a break. Stay with us. We'll be back.
What do you do when a summer house guest
Hi, I'm Bob.
becomes a real house pest?
Come on, Bob, get up. Bob!
You can take him boating.
I'm sailing! Keep sailing, Bob.
Take him jogging. And if he still doesn't take the hint, what are you doing with the rifle? Take no chances.
Death therapy, Bob.
Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss, What About Bob?
People have wanted me to leave, but no one's ever wanted to kill me. How do you know?
Viewer's Choice makes it easy to bring home the laughs with the PG-rated comedy, What About Bob?
Dick, in every big sport, no matter what it is, football, basketball, baseball, we often talk about momentum. Does Central now carry the momentum into the overtime?
Well, it depends on what this little break does. And what this little break does, a possession arrow, what you're going to do offensively. You know, Central could be sky high, but they might have something sticking in the back of their mind. Might be thinking, gee whiz, suppose Whitehall controls the ball. Are we only going to see no air in it? Are we only going to see 1 shot? Then do they dictate, oh boy, we got a foul because now they're sitting in a 1-on-1. It depends on who gets the ball, Gary, off this jump ball.
Dick points out another important factor. Central, every time they foul, it is 1-and-1 for Whitehall. Every time Whitehall fouls, well, nothing happens yet, as they only have 4 team fouls, though they have a couple to give. It'll be a jump ball at midcourt to start the overtime period. So Jones will jump against Fatzinger.
Starting lineup for the Zephyrs, Gary, but Spang is out and Miller are out for the Vikings.
Who controls the tap? It's going to be Whitehall basketball.
I'll tell you, that would make a big gulp come up in my throat.
Now it's interesting. Now they're talking possession arrow, Dick. The possession arrow goes to whom? Does Central have possession? And
Central gets possession, yeah. See, there was no control off the tap, guy.
That's what I think Gary Spangler was making very clear, and he does. The possession light points to the Vikings. A jump shot 17 feet away.
Good play, though. You know, those are fans saying, well, gee whiz, we thought they weren't going to shoot. Gary, if the shot's there, you take it. That's nothing more than a modified foul shot.
Matt Zoke said it's there. He took it. He dropped it. Whitehall by 2.
Now Whitehall's matching. They got to be most conscious of where Aldinger goes.
Have we mentioned the officials tonight? Gary Spangler, Rod Strobel, they've done an excellent job.
Two good men.
In all our
good men.
Confusion of getting back on the air, I'm not sure we did that. Aldinger. Stevens. He wants a shot. He's got the shot. Baseline. Yeah, we're tied.
You know, Rich Pitino in Kentucky would wind the clock down so he could shoot a three.
Our fans may see a whole game anyway.
Yes.
46 all, first overtime. Foul, Stevens. It's a 1-and-1. His third. Remember, Aldinger has 4 fouls. Spang has 4 fouls.
Central Catholic chose to go in the overtime, Gary, with a more power lineup. Pull Spang and put in another big man. That's why we're seeing Cramsey and Fatzinger together.
And now we have the horn blow. Trying to get clarification on who the foul was on, I believe.
Well, you got 2 left-handers over there keeping score, Gary. That's why things are messed up.
Matt Zote. So Zoke, who struggled with a couple of passes that created turnovers in the 4th period, comes in and drops the first 3 points for Whitehall in overtime. Whitehall by 1.
Still matching.
135. Stolen away by Zoke.
That was a great defensive play. Came a little bit too high with the dribble.
Geary brought the ball in front of Zoke. Zoke saw it. He slapped it away. Lisicky almost loses. Lisicky, he's fouled by Aldinger. He's gone. 5 fouls on Jeff Aldinger. He'll leave with 16 points.
Probably see Spang now. Well. I tell you, but Richie Box is really milking that time. He hasn't even looked. He knows all along, Gary, who's going in.
Well, I have Spang for 4 fouls. With all the confusion, we may have missed one, but I don't think he fouled out of the ball game.
Well, he
but
must
maybe
have, because
he did.
he's not coming.
Coming in is number 12 off the bench, Mike Smith, a 5'11 sophomore.
Now, Smith has played in both the Strathaven tournament games, so this isn't like a first time for the year situation. You know, Spang ended that 4th quarter, though, Gary, on the floor. Remember? He wasn't no foul out situation.
I have him for 4. I'm not sure if he may have picked up a 5th, but I think Dick's right. Lisicky gets the foul shot. Whitehall up by 2. Lisicky with 18 on the night. He averaged 11.5 last year as a freshman. Only gets 1. Ball's loose. It's Viking basketball on the possession arrow.
I'll tell you, that's the bottom half of the last 2 1-and-1s that the Zephyrs have usually melt those away, Gary.
They're only 10 for 19 from the foul line.
Here's the 2-2-1 full now again. Excuse me, 3 quarters. And again, it's just a bothersome type thing.
Dick, I'm usually home drinking a cup of tea by now for a Whitehall game. We're at 9:35 on the clock, and it's a turnover and a foul.
Boy, that's 2 big turnovers.
Fouls on Geary. At the line, Pete Lisicky.
Well, this one could ice it. These 2 could ice it.
You've taken a lot of the 3-point power away from the Vikings with Aldinger on the bench. Lisicky has the first. Dick, it's amazing how smooth his jump shot looks, and his foul shot looks rather tentative. Yeah. That's not the normal flow that we see out of Lisicky. He's got them both. Stevens. He may be the man now they need to go to. Baldinger baseline. Baldinger drive. Stevens. Sorry, Stevens. Stevens with 25. What a game he's playing.
Well, that's another thing, Gary, for the Vikes now. That may be a problem. They might have some people who are hesitating to shoot offensively.
Whitehall keeping the ball in Lisicki's hands as much as possible. They don't want to foul him, but they do. Geary. All right, we'll be back. 50-48. 28 seconds.
It's cold outside.
You're a very strange man.
Bitter cold.
You have no idea.
So come on inside. Because HBO is on fire with heavyweight action and red-hot exclusives like Reversal of Fortune, Hamlet, and Predator 2. The hottest lineup you'll warm up to this winter. So call now for simply the best. HBO in December.
Let's get hot.
Pete Lisicki has the first foul shot, 51-48. He may be able to salt it away with one here. He does put it in. Geary. Jumper, no. Stevens inside. Stevens, he's fouled, it's in.
Oh, baby. And it stops the clock down.
Still a lot of time, 15 seconds. The lead is 2. Stevens can cut it to 1. Timeout will be called. Bob Miller comes in to the ball game for the Vikings. And again, just a reminder, we're very busy here in the opening week of the winter sports season. Allen at Easton on Friday night. Nazareth at Easton Wrestling on Saturday night. Next Tuesday, Easton at Whitehall. And then we'll venture into the Colonial League next Friday night. Southern Lehigh at Saucon. Saturday, Peaburg at Nazareth Wrestling. So we're going to get ugly early in our wrestling coverage. And then we're going to take a little bit of a respite for the holiday. But we'll be back with an entire package. January, February, Patriot League playoffs in March, District 11 playoffs in March, swimming, wrestling, districts.
On and on.
Wow.
A lot of miles coming up, Gary. Hope that weather cooperates. You know, you mentioned Southern Lehigh. Tell me they have a fine ball club. Young, tall, and can shoot. Those are pretty good 3 ingredients for Bobby Schaefer.
We thought we put a pretty attractive game on there for you next Friday. Southern Lehigh Saucon. A week from Friday night. Andy Stevens, what a night he's had. 27 points. The Vikes get it back. Up inside. It won't go. Shot by Cramsey. It's Whitehall basketball.
I'll tell you. Gary, win or lose, hey, the Vikes did a tremendous. You know what? I think he missed it on purpose.
I was just going to ask you.
I really, really do. And what a board Cramsey had. He came in and just cleaned up. Made a beautiful rebound. A little bit too hard on the shot. Boy, that was a great effort.
And I think we can assume that Greg Spang fouled out of this ball game.
Yep.
At the foul line, 44, Matt Zoe. believe me, they're not out of the woods. They're up by 2. 8 seconds on the clock. First one's good.
Well, the Zephyr trademark, Gary. Field goals will show the deficit. Foul line will show the surplus.
Might be a good time to run down the scoring for you, assuming that possibly this game may be over. On the night, Jeff Aldinger, 16 points with 4 3-point field goals, and of course the great shot to tie it up in regulation. Andy Stevens, 27 points in the game. Tim Cramsey, 3. Bob Fatzinger, 2. Bob Miller, 2. That's the central scoring to this point for the Whitehall Zephyrs. Clock with 4. 2 by Baccarat. Zoke with 10. Steve Jones with 15. And again, the big man of the night for Whitehall, Pete Lisicki, as he had 7 field goals, 2 3-pointers, 6 for 8 from the foul line, 22 points.
Well, here we are down to the 8-second mark now. And of course, the Zephyrs have been there before trying to ice it, and each time the Vikings were able to come back with a big offensive play. Time just might indicate one last shot for the Vikings of Central Catholic.
My MVPs, I have co-MVPs tonight, Scott Spielman and Mike Trombetta.
Good call.
Because they got this game back on the air after all the electrical problems we experienced in the first half. 53-50.
You know, Gary, it's tough to be playing in an overtime situation without your high scorer and your point guard. You know, via the foul rate.
It should be over. Zoke, 11 points. The three-pointer is down. Oh, my, by Geary. But that
Zoke had enough presence of mind, Gary, not to attempt to throw it in. Oh, what a barn burner. You're talking about a one-pointer, and you know, you could almost tell at the end of that third quarter, when it was 33-32, you say this is going to be rocking forth, and it was just that way. Whitehall always getting just a little bit too much of an offensive edge, and the Vikes always had to come back with a big play and Whittle. But to think that the Vikings of Central Catholic were able to play an entire extra period, Gary, without the services of its point guard and its high scorer. That's a real plus to that Central bench.
Dick, the Vikings go to 1-2, 0-1 in the league. They played their hearts out here tonight and took it to overtime. They're 53 points on 16 field goals. They had 7 3-point field goals, 4 for 5 from the foul line, and that is a critical statistic for their 53 points. The Whitehall Zephyrs, 18 field goals. They had 2 3-point field goals. They were 16 for 25 from the foul line. There's the big difference. 16 for 25 from the foul line.
Well, I'll tell you, Gary, based on 3 games that the Vikes have been involved in, the difference was the Whitehall philosophy of keeping them off the foul line. Because you're talking about a team in the Strathaven tournament shot 19 of 23 and 23 of 27. So here you don't just let them go. You know, they're shooting well again, but they're only shooting a half dozen or less.
That's right, and I think we better readjust my scoring here, Dick, to 49 points. They had 21 field goals, and that's just the way the night's gone. It's been kind of helter-skelter for us all night long in trying to keep up with things as pandemonium was setting in here early in the first period. So, Dick, we won't have a more unique basketball game all year. We hope they're all as good as this one, however.
Not as long. Not as long.
I'll see you Friday night for this week in basketball.
Good enough, buddy.
All right, there you have it. It's a 54-53 Whitehall victory in overtime. We thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
High school. Ron, another year and 9th year here at Whitehall. Can you believe it went that fast?
Yeah, you had the goal to remind me that I'm the 4th oldest surviving coach right now in the Lehigh Valley area, so that sort of sunk to home. So yeah, it's getting to be up there.
If you had to do it all over again, would you do the same thing?
Yeah, I think I'd make the same moves that I made and everything else. So I'm real happy where I'm at right now and with the way the kids have always performed.
Okay, last year you were 17-1 in East Penn Conference. You lost East Penn Conference playoff to Easton. You avenged that setback with a convincing victory over Easton to win the District 11 championship. You wound up 23-6 on the season. There's a little different format this year. You'll be playing 20 conference games instead of 18. Does that make any difference to you?
Nothing makes any difference in the conference. I mean, it just it doesn't really matter until that last week. So what we want to try to do maybe this year is be prepared that last week and be a little bit fresher and maybe not put as much emphasis on the end of the season, the last week of the season, so our kids are a little bit fresher for the tournament.
Coach, 4 of last year's starters graduated. You only have Pete Lisicki back. What does this squad look like?
It presents a lot of question marks because we open with a team with no seniors with experience, and most of the time your leadership comes from your seniors. So either one of our seniors are going to have to develop as a leader as the season goes on, or we're going to have to look to the underclassmen level to get it, and that sort of makes me feel a little nervous because I've always had my leaders come from a senior class.
All right, now this is your first game this season. This is Central Catholic's third. How big of a difference will that make?
It's a big difference. It's a lot of difference in scrimmaging or running around with nobody in the stands and now coming out here tonight and trying to control your emotions and keep your game under control and get the things done we want to get done. So it makes a big difference, but we're going to be ready to play.
Why don't you schedule 2 tip-off games rather than a holiday?
It's a number of reasons. First of all, we just lacked the schedule one a few years ago, and we usually have quite a few football players involved also, so usually it benefits us to start a little later because it gives them another 3 or 4 practices before they open up.
Coach, does the 91-92 season look to be as competitive as last year's setup?
Yeah, I think so. I think your Eastons and Allens are picked, but they're not untouchable teams. And in fact, I think last year, Peaburg, I think most people were considering a lot more untouchable than Easton or Allen is right now. So I think it'll be real competitive. I personally don't know where we're going to end up. It depends how everything falls together for us as December rolls on. I think that goes with a lot of other teams.
Coach, always nice talking to you. I know you want to talk to your kids. Good luck.
Okay,
we'll see you around. Okay, Ron Hassler in his 9th year as head coach here at Whitehall High School. Mike, this is the 59th meeting between these two schools. Allentown Central Catholic holds the lead, 38 victories compared to 20. However, against East Penn Conference competition, they are 11-11.
Well, this is a great rivalry, John, and it's a little ironic, and you've been around, and I talked to the coaches. I don't feel that intensity, and I think there's a reason. I think both coaches are concerned early going here that they need to answer some questions. Central's played 2 games already, and you just talked to Ron Hassler. He has no idea what to expect tonight, so I think that might be missing a little bit, but certainly it is Central Catholic and Whitehall.
Do you agree with Coach Hassler when he said the league will be as good as last year?
I don't know. I think that has to prove itself. They're talking about Allen and Easton, and, I don't know if I see that. I think a lot of teams need to come forward and prove themselves. I don't think there's a Peaburg like last year that was a clear-cut favorite. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to maybe surprise some people. Overall, I think that has to prove that to me yet. I don't see that.
All right. Are you ready for the round ball?
Let's go get it. I'm glad you're back, by the way. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much. Let's tap it off.
What are you doing here at ABE Car Care Center?
Well, I'm going to get a new muffler and a state inspection. Boy, these guys do good work, and they don't charge nearly as much as some of these other guys do.
Well, it's about time you realize that. You're such a winner, Fitz, and besides that, you're cheap.
What do you mean, cheap?
Well, I heard you got short arms and deep pockets.
Well, the way that you fill out those pants, you can't even get your hands in your pockets.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supplies.
Let's go get Yakult. You know it's always been the best. Let's go get Yakult for quality that beats the rest. They got cheesesteaks, French fries. The famous Yakult hot dog is known worldwide. Let's go get Yakult. The secret sauce is one of a kind.
Yakko's, an Allentown tradition.
Serving northeastern Pennsylvania with award-winning community programming, this is Service Electric Cable TV Super 2.
All right, we're back here, ready to tap it off in Whitehall under ninth-year head coach Ron Hassler is coming off the Super 90-91 campaign in which the Zephyrs posted an incredible 17-1 East Penn Conference season, and they were 23-6 overall. Their lone loss in league play, by the way, was the highly favored Peaburg, 51-38. Whitehall, despite its 17-1 league record, had nothing to show for its effort. Under the East Penn Conference format, the top 6 teams in the conference compete for the overall championship. Well, it happened. Eastern, with a 14-4 conference mark, defeated the Zephyrs 47-33 to wrap up the East Penn Conference crown and got the number 2 seed in the District 4A playoff. The Zephyrs avenged that setback, defeating Eastern 58-36 in the district championship game to walk off with that trophy. For Allentown Central Catholic, the 1990-91 season wasn't something Viking fans were writing home about. For some high school teams, a 13-5 league and a 19-9 overall mark would be quite an achievement. But the Vikes had a new head coach in Richie Baxter and a new system to get used to. The Vikes lost twice to Whitehall in regular season play, the first time around back on Thursday night, December 13th, 1990. Boy, and that seems like ages ago. That was game number 3 for Central, and they dropped it 51-41. The win was the second for the Zephyrs in as many starts. Now, the second time around, that was Tuesday night, January 22nd, 1991, here at Whitehall, with the Zephyrs winning 53-45. The loss set the Vikes record at that point at 7-4 in the league and 11-5 overall. Whitehall was now 10-1 in league play and 13-4 overall. But the Zephyrs lost 3 games in a row at one point in the season, losing 2 in the Abington Holiday Tournament, and its only league loss to Peaburg followed. But tonight's a new night. Are you ready for the round ball?
Well, you have to be ready because here we are, opening night. It's hard to believe that football's over already, but, you know, we are here. And, John, you talked about Whitehall a little bit and Coach Hassler. You know, last year he was in a similar position where, you know, he wasn't expected to maybe even qualify for the tournament. He returned a team, you know, that had Tony Medina and Mike Buskirk, and Medina was injured, as everybody known. And all he did was go 17-1. And as a matter of fact, over the last 3 East Penn Conference seasons, Ron Hassler and his Zephyrs are a combined 50-4, and that is certainly outstanding. When you look at that, you know, now this year they come in, and again in that same kind of position, maybe pick to finish in the middle of the pack due to the loss of Tony Medina, Mike Buskirk, Mike Fetchko, and Greg Mulchaney. But look for Coach Hassler to come up with something. He has Pete Lisicki. He is only a sophomore. It's hard to look for leadership from a sophomore. Lisicki's a little bigger, a little bit stronger this year. We'll see what Coach Hassler can come up with.
Well, Mike, while the Zephyrs graduated 4 of last year's 5 starters, Allentown Central Catholic's Vikings graduated 3 of the 5, and they were Keith Cramsey, Mark Singer, and Jared Fry. And Jared Fry is a transfer. He's at Parkland High School. The starters from last year would be Jeff Aldinger, one of the premier backcourt men in the not only the East Penn Conference, but around the Valley, and Andy Stevens, who for the most part started the 1990-91 campaign.
Yeah, the Vikes have some good experience coming back, and certainly Aldinger will lead the way. He has early going so far this year. He's enrolled to go to Lehigh next year, so he's gotten that out of the way, and he had a great summer. Attended a lot of basketball camps and really got great reviews and great way along those lines. And he will be the leader along with Stevens. As you mentioned, Greg Spang, who is now a junior, played a lot of minutes last year. he will bring intensity defensively. Brandon Geary will start also along with Bob Miller tonight. So the Vikes certainly the more experienced team here early going, and we will see if they can use that to their advantage tonight.
Well, one of the surprises for Allentown Central Catholic is the starter Bob Miller. He's a junior, 6'4", but I don't believe that this kid was on a JV squad a year ago.
I don't recall the name. Again, we're usually working when the JV games are going on, and we don't get a chance to pay a lot of attention to that. But I don't know a lot about Bob Miller. You know, he's coming in. He's averaging 8.5 points a game in the first 2 games, and he could be a key guy for Central Catholic. You mentioned Jared Fry with the transfer. They also lost Jason McCullough, who was a highly touted 6'6" freshman a couple of years ago, and last reports that we get is that you will not see him playing basketball anymore due to some very serious knee injuries. So the inside game for Central Catholic is certainly a concern. A young man like Bob Miller at 6'3", 6'4", junior can come in and pick up a lot of slack there and, you know, do a lot of rebounding. Maybe not have to score so many points, but just to keep the other teams honest on the boards.
Well, now Allentown Central Catholic has 2 games under its belt. They participate in the Strathaven tournament. They lost the opening round game to the eventual tournament champion Concord by 64-58 score, but then they won the third spot with a 78-64 win over Sun Valley. So in the 2 ball games, the Vikings have added 136 points for an average of 68 points a ball game while holding the opposition to 64. For Whitehall, their first game of the season, they will get in their 2 tournament games during the holidays. Now, Allentown Central Catholic squad is made up this year of 3 seniors, 5 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. On the other hand, Whitehall High School will have 4 seniors, 6 juniors, and 1 sophomore. Now, we won't see the Whitehall High School basketball team, I feel sure we won't, see them go out on the court. They will be introduced over the PA system, but will not be introduced to the people locally. So, Mike, you have a rundown on their starters.
Okay, for Whitehall, it will be number 20, Jeff Klock. He's a senior. He will be starting along with number 32, Pete Lasicki, the sophomore that everybody's heard about. Hasn't practiced for a week. He's had some ankle problems early. He practiced for the first time last night, so we'll see how he reacts to that. Number 40, Jamie Bretz, also a senior, will be starting along with number 44, Matt Zoke. Off the football field, he is a junior, had a fine campaign there in turning that season around for the Zephyrs. And the final starter, number 50, will be Steve Jones, also a senior.
Well, I guess out of the starting lineup that you just gave us, about the only familiar name will probably be, besides Lasicki, of course, Matt Zoke saw some of the action a year ago. For Allentown Central Catholic, well, last year, Richie Baxa in his first year, they were 13-5 in league play, and they were 19-9 overall. And Richie Bax's assistants, Bob Gilbert, Drew Gary, and George Burkott as the JV coach. Jim Hodrick, the principal, is here tonight, along with his assistant, Denny Ramella. For Ronnie Hassler, his 9th year, and boy, it's hard to believe how that time has rolled by. His assistants, Carl Case, the number 1 man for a long time here. Dennis Love, a former outstanding basketball and football player here at Whitehall High School, one of his assistants, and Jerry Rudoka, the former East Stroudsburg University standout, is the JV coach. Mr. Dale Baker, one of the driving forces in the conference, is the principal, and Bob Krasser, the very fine and personable AD, athletic director here at Whitehall High School. The officials for tonight, we have Rod Strovel and Gary Spengler, 2 very veteran officials, and I don't know what the delay is here at this point.
There's a clock problem to our left. The numbers, the time, and I guess the score are not registering right now, so they're obviously trying to deal with that. Whether they will start the game and go with just 1 clock, I do not know. The coaches are down there with the officials right in front of the scores table right now.
In the JV game
In the JV
tonight,
game, Central Catholic prevailed 56-52 in a hard-fought game. You know, and getting back to the league now a little bit, there are a couple of changes. They will be playing a 20-game regular season schedule rather than the 18, which means now you will only have 2 teams as a swing team, which you will only play 1 time.
You know, the funny part, I asked Ron Hassler that same question. I said, would it make any difference to him? And he, typical fashion, says no. Nothing makes any difference to him.
He has never, said negatives about the schedule. All he's ever said year in and year out, tell me what the schedule is, tell me what we have to do, I'll be there to play.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about him. Doesn't try to put blame on anybody or anything. Has never had any excuses, and boy, he's a winner right down the line. Our next telecast, by the way, will be 1 week from tonight. It'll be Central Catholic over at Liberty. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Before we tap this one off, it gives us a good opportunity to be able to congratulate Coach Jim Morgans and his coaching staff, and of course members of the 1991 Allentown Central Catholic High School football team on winning the Division Class 3 honors for the 1991 season. Congratulations, Jim and Viking football players. It's been a great year.
John, I know you weren't with us through the football season, but I know you followed it. I mentioned it on the air. Central Catholic gave us the most exciting football we have seen in years, and they are certainly needed to be congratulated.
Okay, the Viking starting lineup, number 52. That's the young man we talked about, Bob Miller. Here's Jeff Aldinger, a 6'1 senior. He wears number 34. The other starters, number 22, Brendan Gary, 6'1 senior. Number 33, Andy Stevens, a 6'2 senior. Greg Spang, the 5'9 junior. He wears number 42. For Whitehall High School, I'll give you their numbers so you can follow the team as we go along. Jeff Clark is number 20, a 5'10 senior. Jamie Brett's number 40, a 6'2 senior. Matt Zolt is number 44, a 6-foot junior. Number 50 is Steve Jones, a 6'3 senior. Rounding out the starting five is the Fullerton Slingshot, Pete Lisicki, only a sophomore, 6'2", wears number 32, and he can fire that oval.
Okay, the clock was not taken care of. The best that I could hear from the public address announcer is that they are going to be keeping the time on down at the bench. The score I did not hear. Hopefully they will be posting the score. If not, I think what I heard them say is they will give the score periodically, so you'll have to bear with us, and we'll do the best we can. I guess it's opening night, Coach.
Yeah, it's opening night. We're looking for a picture on our monitor, which we don't have. And as Zephyr's control the opening tap. Number 42, Greg Spang, is on Jeff Clark. From the foul line, the shot is up and in by Pete Lisicki. And the slingshot fires up the deuce to put the Ho Zephyrs ahead 2-0.
And immediately into full court pressure. In past years, this has just been token pressure. They don't try and play for steals. They just make you work the ball a little harder up court.
Brendan Gary outside the perimeter. Gets it over to Aldinger. Bang, what a great name in basketball and golf in the Lehigh Valley for so many years. Aldinger signed a letter of intent to go to Lehigh University. Had a great summer at some of the camps he attended. Spang in the key, throws it up, off the glass, not good. Ball tapped around and picked up by Whitehall High School, Jeff Clark. And here comes Jeff. Picked up defensively by Spang.
To watch number 42 in green, Spang, he's been battling the flu a little bit, so that will be something that the Viking coaching staff will be keeping a close eye on here tonight.
Almost threw that one away, but Steve Jones picks up a deuce, and it's 4-0 very quickly for Whitehall. No scoreboard. We're going to have to watch that. Aldinger outside the perimeter. He can shoot from either side, inside, outside. He's just a good all-around athlete. He impressed Mike and I very much in his sophomore year at Central Catholic.
Well, he's closing in on 1,000 points. Needs about 140 right now. He forced that one a little bit.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he's a little bit off balance.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to decide to shoot and then passed off and then finally left it fly. Clock. There's a personal foul, and this one will be on Spangy. It is first personal foul in a basketball game. Charge at the Greg Spang, 5'9" junior, number 42 for Central Catholic. Zephyr's inbounds. This is Clock. Clock in the low post, gets it over to Matt Zoke, gets it over to Jones, and Jones is fouled by Bob Miller. 6'4" junior for Central Catholic. This is not a big Allentown Central Catholic basketball team overall.
Well, neither teams have much height to them, and that's where it's going to require, you're going to just have to work harder defensively, or even offensively for that matter, but more defensively. You need to play more as a team to make up for that lack of height.
All right, Jones hits his first one. That makes it 5-0 ball game. I hope if that's not a high scoring, we're going to lose track of it because the scoreboard is not working. Jones missed the second, so he converts one out of two, and the Vikes get the ball. Look out, Spangy loses it, and he's tied up. Tied up, who gets the arrow? Central Catholic.
Well, the Vikes will maintain possession. I mentioned at the top how there were some questions that needed to be answered tonight. The Vikes in particular, in their first two games, they averaged 22 turnovers a game. You're not going to win a lot of games in the East Penn Conference with that kind of a stat. Let's look for them to try and work and trying to protect the basketball.
Bang into Stevens. Andy on the right side. Olniger, baseline up high, not good. Rebounded by the Zephyrs. Checking off is Pete Lisicki. Gets it back to Jeff Clark, the 5'10" senior backcourt man. Into Jamie Bretz. Bretz is also a senior. Here's Lisicki. Boy, he can let him fly. What a great basketball player. What a great future this kid has. From the foul line, Zoke pops it, not good. Rebounded. Followed up by the Zephyrs. Look out!
I'll tell you what.
Jump off. That's the first time I have ever seen that.
It must be opening night. That's all I can say.
Well, that ball did not move either way. And remember, it was not jammed up there.
Right.
It just laid there on its support.
I've seen them wedged between the rim and the banking board, but never one die right on the top of the rim like that.
There's a turnover. Jeff Clark moving his pivot foot. Still trying to get a picture on our monitor.
That's our first turnover of the night. We're pretty well played here early going.
It's 5-0 Whitehall leading Central Catholic. No time. Clock is not working. It worked beautifully for the JV game. There's a turnover. Matt Zoke down the alley, up and in. 7-0 Central Catholic, and the Vikings won a timeout early. And listen to the Whitehall fans.
Well, and Whitehall is they're playing their game. I'm sure Coach Hassler has to be real happy with their start here. They're in that 1-3-1 matchup zone. They're doing a real good job, and they're creating problems from Central Catholic. All right, I believe on your screen you're watching the steal here. This is just good defense, and you turn it into 2 points then in transition. And Whitehall doing a good job in that matchup early. They get into transition and shooting well from the field.
Well, it looks like they came out with some temporary equipment to get the scoreboard working. Bob Kratzer is a very fine AD, and he's down there, and I believe before too long we might get some action there.
Well, we have numbers on the board, and that's certainly a start. They're not the same on both boards, but there's numbers on both of them.
We have 3:33 on a time clock on one and nothing on the other. Gary is looking. He's taking a breather. Gary's using his ingenuity to get us a picture here. Any kind. Seven to nothing ball game. Pete Lisicki with a field goal. Matt Zoke with one, and Steve Jones with one. And Jones 1 out of 2 from the foul line. There's another turnover for the Vikes. Lisicki from the foul line picks up his second field goal. and it's 9-0.
What a great touch on that jumper and the trajectory of it, just a nice arc. You must keep him off his spots or you're going to be in big trouble before the night's over.
And that clock I gave you, 3:33, isn't moving, so that was not the time at that point. Stevens was fouled. First a foul against Steve Jones of Whitehall. First personal foul against the Zephyrs. Allentown Central Catholic charged with 2 so far in the ball game.
One of the rule changes this year, John, and you keep those team fouls. You do not shoot the one-on-one until 7 team fouls this year. That's got to favor Whitehall a little bit, who always does a good job to begin with.
All right, Bob Miller, the 6'4 junior, puts the Vikes on the board. They pick up their first, and we have our first picture, and we have a turnover.
4 minutes.
4 minutes is the public address announcer just reported. And here we go. Now we're ready for the ball. Andy Stevens, no. Rebounded by the Zephyrs, Steve Jones. Jones gets it over to Jeff Clock. Clock working deliberately over the 10-second line. Guarded very closely by Spangy. Gets it over to Lisicki. Fullerton slingshot moves inside the perimeter. Stops. Guarded closely by Gary. Traveling call against Whitehall. So the Zephyrs now with their second turnover.
A little bit better job defensively by Central Catholic. Spang setting the tone out in front with a little bit more intensity. Forces the Zephyr turnover. Both teams now with 2 on the evening.
Okay, and 14-13. There's Oldinger. And Jeff pulls the string and lets the left-handed shot go for 2.
Well, one of the things that scoring does for Central Catholic, as you see them pick up now full court man-to-man, they want to try and apply some pressure. You mentioned, John, they're not real tall, so they're going to have to go full court pressure. But if you don't score, you don't get an opportunity to set that up.
All right. Lisicki looks, gets it over the Clock, goes one up. Not good. And out of bounds, and the Vikings have it. They trail, and the clock is working. Not the clock, the scoreboard. We'll get to the clock. It's 9-4. Whitehall leading Central Catholic. We're in the tail end of the first quarter play here at Whitehall High School. Spangy over to Aldinger. Jeff underneath. Andy Stevens. Stevens throws it up. Not good. And there's a whistle and there's a foul as Stevens is caught going over the top. Andy, the 6'2 senior. Charged with his first personal foul and the team third.
See it so many times. You try and hustle back after a miss or whatever, and Andy just trying to create something underneath gets called for the foul.
Yeah, that's a tough foul. It's a tough foul. Sometimes you can't stop the momentum, and you have to be charged because, of course, the book says the contact over the top is a foul. Sometimes some of the older officials will let that go as long as there's a shot underneath. Not good. Now, there could have been contact, not called. And Gary let that one go. Ball is kicked. Central Catholic will get it. That's like pro football. I wish they'd do something with that rule about kickoff and return. There's always a yellow flag on the field. Sometimes a player is 10 feet or 10 yards away from play. Stevens gets up for the shot. Not good. Rebounded by Jones of the Zephyrs. And he almost threw it away, but saved.
Vikes do not take advantage of a good opportunity inside. They had a couple of good shots inside, unable to convert.
They were hurrying the shots, Mike. Zoke, no. Turnover. Jones, bingo! Steve Jones with his second field goal and 5th point of the night. Makes it an 11-4 ball game. Whitehall.
Well, that's one of the things that'll drive you crazy as a coach. Your defense comes up with a big block. Now you try and turn and get into transition. You turn it over and you give up an easy 2 points after playing real good defense.
Now Stevens got it, and he was fouled by Matt Zoke. Matt's first personal foul. Stevens' first field goal, and he'll go to the charity stripe.
Well, one of the few times that Central has been able to break down that Whitehall zone, or that matchup zone. Excellent pass inside. You saw the contact. Stevens' first trip to the free throw line.
And I don't like to see Stevens taking that ball. Should have went right up with the shot instead of hitting the floor. But he got it, got away with it, and got the field goal, and converted the foul, and picks up his 3rd point. And we have an 11-7 ball game. So all of a sudden, the Vikings, down bad at one point in the first quarter, are back in contention in this ball game.
Well, it was a matter of just getting comfortable offensively and start doing the things they know they're capable of.
Oh, beautiful work passing that ball around. Lisicki for three, and he has it. Chesto Pete has a three-pointer. A bullseye. And boy, that made it 2-1 in a hurry. 14-7, 57 seconds. Steven in a feint. Gets it underneath. The shot is up. The shot is not good. Rebound followed up by Gary. Not good. Rebound by the Vikings. Gary has it. Brendan gets it over to Aldinger for a three-pointer. 14-10.
That's good hustle by Central Catholic there. They missed a couple of, some close ones inside. But persistence kept them possession of the basketball until they got it to Aldinger, who drained a three-pointer.
Boy, I love that three-point, don't you?
Oh, that's exciting. You know, this year, if you foul them out there too, you get 3 free throws. So a couple of rule changes in the high school level. They did that in college last year, but not in high school. If you foul somebody out there and the basket doesn't go, they're going to get 3 free throws.
Jones turns around, hooks it up, not good. Rebounded by the Vikings, but they lose it. Shot is up, it's not good. That's the end of the first quarter. It is Whitehall 14, Allentown Central Catholic 10.
What are you doing here at ABE Car Care Center?
Well, I'm going to get a new muffler and a state inspection. Boy, these guys do good work, and they don't charge nearly as much as some of these other guys do.
Well, it's about time you realize that. You're such a winner, Fitz, and besides that, you're cheap.
What do you mean, cheap?
Well, I heard you got short arms and deep pockets.
Well, the way that you fill out those pants, you can't even get your hands in your pockets.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supplies.
Let's go get Yakult. You know it's always been the best. Let's go get Yakult for quality that beats the rest. They got cheesesteaks, French fries. The famous Yakult hot dog is known worldwide. Let's go get Yakult. The secret sauce is one of a kind.
Yakko's, an Allentown tradition. Serving northeastern Pennsylvania with award-winning community programming. This is Service Electric Cable TV Super 2.
Hey, everything is go. Take a good look. Clock is working. Scoreboard is working. We're working. It's 14-10. Whitehall. He asked me what I would do if I were on a rules committee of the NCAA.
All right, what would you do if you were on the rules committee of the NCAA?
I'm glad you asked. The first thing I would do is take the headset off the head coaches. The next thing I would do is outlaw the high fives. That drives me nuts. And there's Ron Hassler. And another thing I would do on the collegiate professional level is every time the official drops a flag, they have to have a meeting. Why must they have a meeting? If you drop the flag, it should be your call.
Yeah. Well, I think instant replay has dictated that, that they got to keep conferring now anymore. And, well, they have ruined a lot of good football games.
Oh, crazy.
It's a shame.
Crazy. That's why I don't like to see too many changes funnel down to scholastic sports. Let them play the game as they're playing it now. The rules, the changes, several that they have made, I think, are good for the game.
Yeah. Okay, a little confusion here. Tim Cranzy was out on the floor. I don't believe he checked in at the scorer's table, though. And so they will have to go back to their original 5. And now Cranzy, I believe, will just sit in front of the scorer's table and at the first dead ball be allowed into the basketball game.
All right, Andy Stevens will work it inbounds for Allentown Central Catholic. And now Gary Springer comes over to the scorer's table. It's Beidelman is down there on the score table. He's the Zephyr's official scorer. I caught him out on the links a couple times this year.
A couple bonus days lately with this warm weather we've been
supposed
getting.
to play tomorrow. Okay, Gary, Stevens, to Miller. They knocked out of bounds, but they give it to Central Catholic. Now we have a change for the right. Tim Cramsey, the 6'2 sophomore. This is the young quarterback.
And what a fine quarterback. He will get a lot of votes when it comes to picking the player of the year as far as the quarterback. Outstanding.
I predict he's going to be first team, East Penn.
I agree with that. We certainly don't get a chance to vote as the coaches do that. But I agree with that. This young man just did an outstanding job of running that wing tee, that Delaware wing tee, with very few mistakes.
Stevens, no. Jones rebounds for Whitehall.
Shooting percentages first quarter, the Vikes were 4 of 13 for 31%. Whitehall was 5 of 11 for 45%. Both teams committed 3 turnovers.
Joe Botcher in the lineup for Whitehall. Zoke with the shot, not good. Jones, yes. Steve Jones has his 3rd field goal and his 7-point. He's big. He looks bigger than 6'3". Shot is up, not good by Stevens. Rebounded by Zephyr. Zephyrs are controlling the board.
Well, he certainly looked bigger than 6'3" on that rebound right there. Good, strong, aggressive board, and he's picked up some good garbage points inside. There's always 10, 12, 14 points for a guy who can leap with his ability under there on the offensive boards.
Oh, look at this. Oh. 9 points for Jones.
Outstanding assist by number 44, Matt Zoke. A no-look pass froze the defense a little bit, and Jones was all alone underneath.
Aldinger fakes right, goes left. Tries to get in the corner. It's turned over. Loose ball is picked up by Jeff Flock. Zephyr's controlling the board. Zephyr's controlling the play, the tempo of the game. Clock not good. Poor shot. Rebound. The ball knocked out of bounds. There's a whistle, and there's a foul. Let's see who this is going to be on.
You do not see Zephyr, Coach Hassler, coach teams make that, shoot the ball that quickly and attack the zone that quick. You'll see they're off the loose rebound now. There's going to be a personal foul.
It's going to be on Jones. That'll be his 2nd. All right, here come the Vikings. They trail 18-10. Spang. In a corner to Aldinger. Back to Spang. Stevens inside the foul line. Aldinger for 3. Up high. Bullseye. Aldinger pops up his 2nd 3-pointer. And his 3rd field goal of the night, and it's 18-13.
Well, Aldinger was struggling a little bit from out there in the first 2 games. He was only 1 of 10, and he has all of Central Catholic's 3-pointers on the year now with 2 tonight.
Joe Botcher picks up his first deuce on a nice play. Hey, Marciniak is off to a great start.
How about it? Record already as a freshman at Notre Dame University. That's fantastic. 33 points she scored the other night.
I think Aldinger's going to have to start taking some of those shots, Mike. He got that assist in there underneath the basket, but it was in traffic, and he could have went up for the shot from about 8 feet out.
Yeah, it's difficult to penetrate against this Whitehall matchup zone. It has been year in and year out. When it's played properly, you're not going to get much by that. You got to do the last possession. They went inside out with the passing and that freedom for the jumper. That would be better off for Central Catholic.
Well, it's nice to pass the ball around, but sometimes you can go one pass too often. Ramsey. Whistle. Aldinger is fouled. And a foul will be on Lisicki. That'll be Pete's first.
Pete's pleading his case here. I don't know. I thought I saw it. No, he didn't do it. The first guy out in front was the first contact, and Pete got called for it. He was right. Okay.
Let them ask us for a slow-mo replay on it.
That's exactly right. Actually, the contact was made first by Clark, who actually took the legs out, and then Lisicki came in, and he was right.
Ramsey off the glass. Not good. Missed the peeper. Handball rebounded by Clark. Clark's only 5'10", but they got a number of rebounds here tonight. 20-13, in case you just joined us. It's Whitehall leading Allentown Central Catholic. 4 minutes and 53 seconds remaining here in the first half. Spang with the ball for the Vikes, up over the timeline. Spang gets clobbered underneath. Franzi goes up, he gets it, and he is fouled. Tim Franzi, 6'2" sophomore, picks up his first deuce, and he's fouled by Steve Jones, and unofficially that'll be his third.
Well, I believe number 50 in green and gold is going to be a real key for the Vikes this year, as he was football. You see the excellent effort there. After the first 2 games, and really not with the full benefit of practice, he's the team's leading rebounder, and I think that's really a concern for the Vikes. He could be one of those players to come in, once he gets those basketball legs, to come in and fill that void.
Who was that, Mike? I missed that.
Cramsey.
Oh, okay. You know, another kid that I kind of like for Central is that Batzinger. Here's a foul on Spangy.
You'll see Greg trying to deny over along the way. Maybe gets there a little bit late. He's not particularly happy about the call, but it goes against him.
See, now with Fatzinger there, the Vikes have some height, too.
Well, and again, Fatzinger, one of the football players, and what a great job he did at tight end. It's going to take these guys a little while to get rid of those football muscles and get used to getting indoors and playing some basketball.
And he looked pretty good in spot plays that we saw him a year ago.
Well, you know what, John? He's trimmed down. I think he's gotten rid of some of that baby fat, and he looks much more like an athlete, and he's moving a whole lot better.
Clock comes up with another rebound. Boy, who could ever remember the great nights here with Buskirk, and how about the three amigos? Oh.
Gronkowski, Klutcherich, and Buskirk.
Yeah.
They gave us a lot of thrills. I know that.
They sure did.
That was a great group of guys. You know, and I mentioned to Coach Hassler, I said it looked to me like he's got a lot of guys. Let's take a look at the replay here. Now you'll see Whitehall penetration there. Foul going to go against Brendan Geary there inside. But I mentioned to him now how he has a couple of young guys in the JV team that remind me a little bit of Buskirk. He says, well, if one of them turns out to be like him, I'll be real happy.
Great
he said.
competitor.
Yep, real leader. I mean, you think about what that team accomplished last year, going 17-1 through this league. And I mean, they played 5 people. Once in a while, they got 6 deep in the bench, but it was an iron 5, and they were very disciplined.
Well, here comes a typical Zephyr player in the lineup. Matt Leschko, 6'7" junior, as Jeff Klopp picks up his first point of the night. 21-16. There's a steal. Clock again in the middle of the action. Lisicki makes his move for the bucket, but there's a whistle and there's a foul, and this will be on Aldinger.
Well, off the turnover, Whitehall is able to get Central Catholic scrambling a little bit. You see they run at Lisicki. Little head and shoulder fake gets them out of position to reach in, foul called on Aldinger.
All right. Inbounds pass to the Zephyrs. Clock. Over to Zoke from the deep corner. Not good. Ball batted around out of bounds and awarded to Central Catholic. Aldinger, little stutter step dribble ahead, guarded by Zoke. He gets around him, gets the ball over to Geary, back to Aldinger. Jeff outside the perimeter, about 30 feet out. Edges in a little bit closer, gets it back to Geary. 3:15 and running remaining in the first half, 21-16. Fatzinger loses it, but the ball is picked up. Shot is up there by Central Catholic High School, not good. Look out.
That's some good hard play inside. You get a look at number 53, the tight end and defensive end on the football team, but good hard play inside, good physical. Officials on top of the game. Turnover against Central Catholic.
That was just running foul. There's Zoke. Foul by Aldinger, and that'll be his second. 21-16, Whitehall. Zephyr's first game of the 1991-92 campaign. For Central Catholic, game number 3 of the infant season.
Okay, and again, you are not looking at the clock, but that is the 7th team foul against Central Catholic. So now Whitehall in the bonus will start with a 1-and-1. In years past, that all started with the 5th team foul. So that'll be new this year, and hopefully we'll keep reminding you of that so that you look for teams shooting free throws. I think that's something that might help Whitehall. I mean, they play that disciplined defense to begin with, and they were only putting teams on the line 2 and 3 times a game. Now they have 2 more team fouls to work with.
Well, Clark missed his first attempt tonight, now hit his last 3. Boy, he's a young-looking kid for a senior, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
See that close-up on the foul line? Looks like he doesn't shave yet. Aldinger. Baseline, Stevens. Andy has it. Second field goal for Stevens. 23-18. Whitehall by 5.
Nice little fall away by Stevens to get himself a little bit more room. Kind of ducked in and then dropped back. And nice arch on that shot.
Lisicki, guarded by Geary, throws it up. No. Rebounded by Fetzinger. Robert, a 6'4 junior. Here's Aldinger. Picked up defensively by Clark. Stevens. Out to Gary. Brendan is a senior. His dad is one of the assistant coaches. Deep corner. No. Boy, that was close. Fetzinger gets it. Hooks it up. Not good. Well, that was in and out. And Whitehall will get the ball.
And that is a tough break for Fatzinger. Good aggressiveness on the boards. Only a junior. Real good aggressiveness. Just didn't get a good roll around that rim. They'll start to drop for him before the year's over.
Yeah, that thing was down inside the cylinder.
Yep.
All right, 1:35 of running remaining. 23-18. Whitehall, look out. No. And a foul. This one will be against the Zephyrs. And it'll be against Matt Leshko, the 6'7 junior, who came into the ball game replacing Steve Jones for Whitehall.
Well, fouls now beginning to be a problem in the middle for Whitehall. The key to that 1-3-1 matchup zone is the man in the middle. Jones is on the bench already with 3, and now Leshko picks up 1. Going to be important to keep one of those 2 guys in the game throughout the night.
Central Catholic 13-5 in the league last year, 19-9 overall. Aldinger, no. Tap up by Cramsey, not good. Rebounded by Botcher of the Zephyrs.
No, Aldinger did a smart thing. He went right at Leshko there and just didn't draw any contact to draw the personal foul.
So here's Clark. Lisicki. Leshko. Clark. Oh, look, beautiful lead pass at time. Shot is up, not good, and a foul.
Well, that's real good communication. Brendan Geary, number 22, is man for man on Lisicki and overplaying him, and that's just good communication from out in front. Now watch number 20, Clark. You go back door when that happens. The Zephyrs or Central Catholic does not get over there quick enough to help out, and when they do, they commit the personal foul.
All right, Fatzinger charged with his first personal foul and a Fullerton slingshot. Pete Lisicki on a foul line for the first time tonight.
And you won't see that happen too many times.
No, he had 3 field goals, one of them a 3-pointer.
Interesting. He's grown a little bit, and he's also gotten a little stronger. I mean, when you see that on the screen, you think, my God, he's stronger. But last year, he was almost rail thin. But he did put on some weight. And again, only a sophomore. And his whole family, his brothers, were big, muscular guys. So you got to believe that Pete is one day going to fill out and really become a force.
All right, 24-18, Whitehall. 20 seconds and counting remaining here in the first half. And the Vikes going to go for the last shot.
For the rest of you people in the East Penn Conference, there are 2 more Lisickis, by the way, which are freshmen on the Whitehall program. So there's a ton of them. There's 8 of them all together, and I believe that might be the end. I'm not sure.
Ramsey, no, missed it, and that is the end of the first half. Whitehall, 24, Allentown Central Catholic, 18.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supplies.
There's a star in the sky tonight, so here's my wish for you. That every Christmas dream you have will certainly come true. That your world is filled with laughter, and no matter where you roam, a Lehigh Valley Christmas will bring you back home. Come on home for Christmas with Service Electric Cable TV. Let the spirit of love surround you and celebrate the season in harmony. Merry Christmas and warmest wishes too. Service Electric Cable TV sends our best to you.
Serving northeastern Pennsylvania with award-winning community programming. This is Service Electric Cable TV Super 2.
Well, hi there once again, everybody. I'm Johnny Dady, along with Mike Zambelli. Here we are at the halftime break at Whitehall High School. At the end of the first quarter, Whitehall outscored Allentown Central Catholic 14-10, and they outscored the Vikings in the second quarter 10-8 to take a 24-18 lead here at the halftime break. Steve Jones was the high scorer for Whitehall in the first half with 4 field goals and 1 out of 2 fouls. Jeff Clark, 3 out of 4 from the foul line for 3 points. Pete Lisicki, 3 field goals, 1 of them a 3-pointer, 1 out of 2 from the foul line for 8. Joe Botcher, a field goal for 2. Matt Zook, a field goal for 2. The line for Whitehall, 9 field goals, 1 3-pointer, 5 out of 8 from the foul line for their 24, 6 personal fouls. High score for Central in the first half. Jeff Aldinger, 3 field goals, 2 of them 3-pointers. We have Brendan Gary scoreless. Andy Stevens, 2 field goals and a foul for 5. Tim Cramsey, a field goal and a foul for 3. Bob Miller, field goal for 2. Second half is underway. In the first half, the Vikes had 7 field goals, 2 3-pointers, 2 out of 2 fouls for 18 with 8 personal fouls. Spangy outside the perimeter. Gets it to Andy Stevens, makes a good move. A fake pump, throws it up and in. Andy Stevens with his 3rd field goal.
Well, look for the Vikes to do a whole lot more of that in the second half. Jones, with those 3 personal fouls, becomes a sitting duck in the middle. He's going to have to put up a little bit more resistance than that.
And Jones is back in the lineup for the Zephyrs. There's Lisicki outside the key. Just had an opportunity and a pleasure to meet his dad. Jones shot not good. Rebounded by Central Catholic. Brendan Gary gets though to Spang. Greg along the baseline to Stevens. Stevens back out to Spang. Spang underneath. Oh, good double fake pump. The shot not good. Missed by Cramsey, and that was a peeper. Ball knocked out of bounds. Central Catholic will get it.
Real good look inside by Spang. Cramsey just unable to convert. Now Cramsey starting here in the second half.
Inbounds pass. Spang. Oh, good pass, but it was intercepted by Matt Zook of the Zephyrs. Thrown into a little bit of traffic, but it looked like a Dan Marino pass for a moment.
Yeah, it was a good thought. I think it's a little bit long for a bounce pass, though. The floor took a little bit too much off it. Just didn't have enough steam to get there.
Oh, that was pushing off, but not called. As Matt Zook going for the ball with his right hand, pushed off with the left hand. Gary Spengler was screened out of play, didn't make the call. The Zephyrs have the ball.
Shooting percentages in the first half. Central was 7 of 25 for 28%. Whitehall was 9 of 21 for 42%. From the free throw line, Central Catholic perfect, 2 for 2, 100%. Whitehall was 5 of 8 for 62%.
As Pete Lisicki is not only a crackerjack basketball player, but I understand he's president of the sophomore class. Jones.
Yes, he is.
Goes around a couple times, not good. Zook follows it up and in. Matt Zook with his 2nd field goal.
Academically ranked number 1 in his class, also back to Lisicki. So just an all-around fine young man.
Now, how can you be a good basketball player and be tops in your class?
Well,
there's to study some kids.
There he is out there.
Oh, look at this. Stevens goes up for the shot and misses it. Boy, the Vikes missed about 4 peepers. Stevens goes up for the follow-up, and he is fouled.
Well, they really are battling themselves inside. They've missed a couple like that in the first half. Brandon Geary makes an excellent decision off that save to get it to one of his teammates, but the Vikes are again unable to convert.
Jeff Clark charged with his first personal foul. substitution. Jamie Bretz makes his first appearance of the night, replacing Joe Botcher for Whitehall. On a free throw line, Andy Stevens had one attempt, hit it. He is now 2 for 2. Picks up his 6th point of the night.
After 2 games of the season, Andy's averaging 12 points a game. He was 8 for 11 from the free throw line coming into tonight for 73%.
And we have a 26-22 ball game. Whitehall by just 4 with 5:40 remaining here in the 3rd period, and the clock is running. Clock guarded very closely by Spang. On a give and go, there's a steal. It is 3-on-2. Aldinger gets it underneath, knocked down out of bounds and lost off the fingertips of Stevens.
Well, the Vikes are unable to convert, but that was great anticipation and good weak side help by Andy Stevens to come up with the steal off the back door. But in the Vikes transition, they turn it over again. Number 3 here of the half. Turnovers, by the way, in the first half. Central Catholic 7, Whitehall 3. Central Catholic now with 10 on the night.
Jones got it. Jones did a double fake pump that time, spun around a 360-degree, and then popped it up and in for his 5th field goal of the night.
Well, Jones has played real big inside. He has not tried to get too fancy. He's just taken what is given to him, and as a result was the team's leading scorer in that first half.
Stevens for 3 from the deep baseline. So Andy picks up the scored field goal, and it is 28-25. Whitehall by 3 with 4:40 remaining here in the 3rd period.
Boy, those 3-pointers make up ground in a hurry.
I'm telling you, they do one. They turn the game around completely.
Sure do. That's Stevens' first of the year.
Look out, Ramsey gets the rebound again, 2 in a row. Clear the boards to give the Vikes possession. Gary, deep corner. Stevens comes out of it, gets it out to Aldinger. Aldinger had a notion to go for 3. Spangy. Was that Spangy? No, that was Gary. Gary, okay. Lisicki, all alone, now looks for help. Goes for 3 up high. Bullseye. Lisicki has 4 field goals. 2 of them are 3-pointers. And very quickly, the Zephyrs go up by 6.
Well, Lisicki just lulled the defense to sleep there. Looked like he was going to pull up.
Aldinger tries for 3. Not good. Hit the brace up above, and the Zephyrs, leading by 6, have the ball backcourt. Inbounds the clock. Clock moves pretty well.
Yeah, when it's turned on and working.
Not that one, the one on the floor. Nice underhand shuffle. Look out, Jones. He's fouled. Fouled by Tim Cramsey. That'll be Cramsey's first personal foul. And Jones, 1 out of 2 from the foul line. Let's take a look.
Well, I'm impressed with Jones here early, John. You know, he gives a nice compliment to Lisicki outside, and that's what the Zephyrs are looking for. I mentioned he's played within himself. He's hung around the basket, shows great leaping ability.
With body on him, look at the legs on him. You know, he can muscle you underneath that board. Got some nice height on that one. He's 2 out of 3 from the foul line to go along with his 5 field goals, 32-25 Whitehall. 3-3-3 remaining here in the 3rd period.
Well,
Ramsey comes out of the lineup, and Bob Fatzinger replaces him.
Not only offensively for Jones, but I talked about that 1-3-1 match zone at the Whitehall plays. That middleman is a real key, and certainly Jones is the guy who's been in there. He needs to play consistently inside.
Stevens for 3. Has it. Andy has 5 field goals. 2 out of the 5 are 3-pointers. So he has 2, 4, 6, 12. He has 15 points. He had 5 in the first half, got 10 here in the opening minutes of this 3rd period. Almost a steal by Aldinger, but they get the ball out to Matt Zoke. Zoke hooks around the perimeter, being chased by Aldinger. Aldinger dogging him, gets the pass over to Brett. Brett's back out to Clock. There's a turnover. There's a pass down to Spang. Spang over Stevens. Yes! Forget about it. Offensive foul. Yeah, let's look at it.
Jamie Brett, watch number 40, turn, and gets his feet planted. That's a heck of a job hustling back defensively. Negate the 2. Nice hustle by Brett.
That's a shame. Great play like that. But good call. I'm not questioning the call. I'm just saying too bad when you lose one like that.
Yeah, it sure is, because Central Catholic now really turning it up a notch defensively.
Aldinger. Their short field goal. 32-31. The Vikes are down by just one.
Well,
they were down 6 at the halftime break.
You know, I know they've converted on a lot of long-range three-pointers, but it's the defense that has turned things around now, forcing some turnovers. Whitehall has committed 3 here in this third quarter that have led to Central Catholic scores.
Well, see, that's where this inexperience will come, and Aldinger is charged with his 3rd personal foul, blocking.
Well, you got to play defense with your feet. You have to move your feet. You can't be reaching in. You can't let the bodies touch. And you can see that Aldinger just gets a step behind there, and that's why the call goes against him.
So, out the clock. Clock of 5'10", senior. Jamie Bretz, guarded closely by Stevens.
Well, he's looking for Jones inside.
Finds Zoke. Pass intended for Jones. He has it. Jones is slapped out of his hand and picked up by Aldinger of Central Catholic, and now Jeff slows things down.
Another turnover forced by the defense. That's like 3 or 4 in the last 3 or 4 possessions by Whitehall.
That's where this inexperience starts showing up. That was a bad shot by Spank. Try to go over 4 white jerseys that time, with nobody on the weak side covering, and the Zephyrs come up with the rebound. Lisicki, clock, 32-31 Whitehall, 1:10 remaining in the third period and running. Full house here at Whitehall High School. Our thanks to Bob Crasser, the athletic director, for all of his help in making this telecast possible, and of course the head coach, Ron Hassler. Look out, look out, look out. They steal it, but Gary stepped on the baseline.
Boy, nice help defensively by the green and gold. That play was open. There was some movement, good movement by Whitehall, but good defensive adjustments and help from the weak side.
Look out. Shot is up. Not good. Rebounded by Andy Stevens of the Vikes. Gets it over to Greg Spang, the 5'9" junior, working deliberately up over the timeline with 35 seconds remaining and running. Aldinger. Andy Stevens. Stevens or Aldinger could go for the bullseye. Spang, 25 seconds and ticking.
Well, you mentioned Stevens. He's a real key for the Vikes this year also.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can play forward, he can play guard, he can play point guard. So he's a real good utility man, and as you can see here in this third quarter, has lit it up from that three-point line.
There's Stevens, a fadeaway. No, not good. Ball tapped right into the hands of Fatzinger. Fatzinger to Stevens. Bingo! Stevens gets it. 6th field goal, and that is the end of the third quarter. And Allentown Central Catholic goes ahead for the first time in a basketball game, 33-32.
Let's go get Yakult. You know it's always been the best. Let's go get Yakult for quality that beats the rest. They got cheesesteaks, French fries. The famous Yakult hot dog is known worldwide. Let's go get Yakult. The secret sauce is one of a kind.
Yakult's, an Allentown tradition.
What are we doing here at ABE Car Care Center?
By getting the machine inspected, the sticker runs out tomorrow.
You always wait till the last minute.
Oh, stop your moaning. Besides, I gotta get the brakes checked. It hasn't been stopping so good lately.
I wish I could get you to stop.
Get me to stop what?
Stop eating.
Don't bug me. I got enough confidence in me for the both of us.
You've got enough everything in you for the both of us.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supplies.
Serving northeastern Pennsylvania with award-winning community programming. This is Service Electric Cable TV Super 2.
We're back here at Whitehall High School. Johnny Dady and Mike Zambelli. And we're going to have to get Richie Bax a carnation or something. He's pulling a Digger Phelps. Digger Phelps is not there anymore, Richie. Watch that. The coaches get together, and then after they have a little discussion, then they get to the team.
Okay, third quarter stats. The Vikes 5 of 12 shooting, 42%. Whitehall 3 of 8 for 38%. But I think the real key is the better job defensively by Central Catholic, forcing some turnovers. The Vikes committed 3, but they forced 4. Whitehall committed 4 to bring game total Central Catholic 10 turnovers, Whitehall 7.
All right, Central Catholic outscored Whitehall 15-8 in that third period to take that 33-32 lead. That assault led by Andy Stevens, who had 4 field goals, 2 of them three-pointers, and 2 out of 2 fouls. Fourth quarter underway. Jeff Clark with the ball for the Zephyrs. Gets it over to Jamie Bretz. Bretz to Matt Zoke. Here's Clark in the corner. Jones makes his move. No. Rebounded by Fatzinger. Fatzinger really got himself in position that time for the rebound. Gary. Spang. Aldinger. Why was Aldinger trailing the play like that? He wasn't hurt, was he?
No, I didn't see him. I didn't pick him up on that one. Seems to be all right.
Yeah, he seems to be, but he's trailing there. I was just wondering if he slipped, turned an ankle, or whatever. Stevens. Spang. Fourth quarter from Whitehall. Our next telecast will be 1 week from tonight, Tuesday night, and that'll be Allentown Central Catholic at Liberty. We will not have a game Friday night. Our technical equipment will be out of town. Spang, down the lane, got it, but foul before the shot.
Boy, what a difference Central Catholic looks like now offensively. This is their first lead of the night, as you mentioned, John. And now they're showing more poise, a little bit more character, and a lot more patience. You see the foul drawn there as Spang tried to penetrate. The foul will go against number 20, Jeff Clark.
And that's Jeff's second personal foul. Aldinger to Stevens. Spang, Fatzinger. Gets it back out to Gary. Spangy. Inside the perimeter. There's Aldinger. Jeff for 3. No. Fatzinger pounding the board. But Jones comes up with the rebound for Whitehall. Zephyrs with an opportunity to go ahead. They trail 33-32. 6:25 remaining here in this ball game. Lisicki. Fist of feet has it. His 5th field goal of the night. And Whitehall goes ahead 34-33.
Well, he's only a sophomore, but the Zephyrs are going to need his leadership on plays just like that.
And this is just about the kind of a game that we anticipated. Early moments it looked like a Whitehall runaway, but it turned out to be a typical Whitehall Central Catholic game. Aldinger, button hooks, comes out of the corner traffic, gets it over to Gary. Back to Aldinger, and Jeff wants a timeout. You know that this is only the second time on the ball game. We had 1 in each half. Whitehall leading 34-33.
Okay, let's take a look now at the last score by Lisicki. Does a nice job. Look at him using his left hand, and that's the key there. You can see he's a right-handed shooter. You must be able to go both ways if you're going to be effective and to pull up on a jumper. And boy, I'll tell you, doesn't that remind you a lot of Billy McCaffrey from a couple of years ago, pulling up dead on that jumper and showing a great touch?
I wonder how many times Billy McCaffrey sits in his room and says, did I make the right move? You know, he has to sit it out this year. He'll be a senior next year.
Yeah.
And here his team is number 1 in the nation again, and then a strong number 1.
Well,
they're not just sitting there.
No, they're a better basketball team than they were last year, in my mind.
Yes.
You know, no doubt about it. And but a young man made a decision. We all know Billy, and always been a smart young man, and knows what he wanted, and wanted more playing time, and that's why he did it. But like you said, you wonder how many times that thought will go through his mind.
All right, back to the action here at Whitehall. Allentown Central Catholic with possession. Brendan Gary, the 6'1 senior, will inbounds. And he does to Spang. Greg Spang, 5'9 junior. Gary, Aldinger. Jeff comes out of some traffic. Bang. Gary. Bang.
Pace definitely favoring Whitehall when they get you into this half court here. Central Catholic showing good patience, but they much prefer to get out and break a little bit and score on transition.
Waiting for somebody to make a move. There goes Spang. No. Rebound Fatzinger. No. Ball tipped and out of bounds and will be awarded to Central Catholic. Now they change. Now they're giving it to Zephyr, and this is the way it should be.
Well, yeah, that's right. He called White, but pointed in the wrong direction. But the call verbally was the right one, and they corrected it.
All right.
Two excellent officials tonight in Rod Strobel and Gary Spengler.
Ooh. Almost a walk that time as Lisicki tried to change his pivot foot from the foul line, throws it up and in. Great shot. 36-33, Whitehall. 4:45 remaining in the ball game. Geary gives it to Stevens. Stevens throws it up and in. Stevens having a great night. That's his 7th field goal. 36-35. Whitehall by 1.
Well, he really is able to gather up a tough pass there and then control his body and then show a good touch inside in the paint.
Clock. Saved by Clock. So Jones gets it. Whistle. And there's going to be a foul on Spang.
Well, and Jones is looking over to the bench, and I know exactly what they're saying. What great hustle by Jones there, but why dribble it? Go right up with it with the big man, and he looks over, and you know Jerry Radoka is telling him, just go right up with it with both hands and draw the foul. He'll learn that.
Especially when Spang is guarded.
That's right.
Spang is 5'9".
That's right.
Okay, here's Jones. He has 2 out of 4 from the foul line to go along with 5 field goals, so he's having a pretty good night. 36-35, the Zephyrs by 1. We're midway through the fourth quarter of this ball game.
Now, it might be the first season game or league game of the night for both these clubs, but they're down into crunch time, and they're going to learn a lot about themselves early right now.
You know, you talk, coaches are a rare breed. You know, you talk to some of them, they say, well, I'd rather start out this way because start out with the best. But then you'll take to the other guy who I think is honest with you, and they'll say, give me a couple of feeders.
Wants to build a little momentum into the big game and a little confidence, and I tend to agree with that. You know, why would you want to throw yourselves wide into the wolves? You look at the college football coaches. None of them want to play in that fall classic or whatever they call it, because they don't want to go out. They want to build a little momentum and confidence. Confidence is such an important factor. Now, if you go up against the best in the first game, get a little of that confidence knocked out of you, now you might be in trouble for the rest of the year.
Yeah, they play in that thing because they're committed.
Yeah.
They have to. Zephyrs turn it over. Central Catholic trailing 36-35 with an opportunity to go ahead. Lead pass. Oops, the Vikes turn it over. And now, Whitehall with an opportunity to add a couple more. They lead by 1 with 3:22 remaining in regulation.
Well, both teams now showing a little inexperience kicking the ball around. Back-to-back turnovers, not getting anything established offensively.
We have to remember, good shot by Matt Zoke, his 3rd field goal. 2 of the 3 picked up here in the second half, 38-35. You have to remember that Central Catholic, they turn it over. They only have 2 starters back from last year, and Stevens and Aldringer. Whitehall just won in Pete Lisicki.
Well, they're learning real quick. Nice job by the Zephs of coming out in that full court press, but applying more pressure to force yet another Viking turnover. Now that is number 13 on the night. Keep in mind, I did tell you that they're averaging 22.5 a game in their first 2 games coming in here tonight.
Boy, I think Clock is doing a super job out there running this offense for the Zephyrs and doing a good job on defense. Gary.
Andy Stevens, a nice defensive effort from the weak side.
Fatzinger fade away, and he has it. Bob Fatzinger picks up his first deuce to pull Central Catholic to within 1. They trail 38-37, 2:20 remaining and running.
Boy, I like Fatsinger's mobility now that he's trimmed down. Much more athletic, nice turnaround left-hand jumper.
They're giving Jones a field goal, and he's fouled. Aldinger, his fourth personal.
Right into the heat of the battle. This is just nice, good, quick hands by Jones. You see he's under the basket. He's able to lean back, kiss off the glass, score the two. Now an opportunity to complete a three-point play.
40-37, Whitehall. 2:10 remaining, and Jones on the line to complete the three-point play. He missed his last three. He has 2 out of 6 from the foul line tonight. But he got that one to complete the three-point play and give the Zephyrs a 4-point advantage. Here's Stevens. Checks off. Aldinger. Bang. Gary. Cross court. Stevens up high. No. Fatzinger, no. Rebounded by Zoot of Whitehall.
Boy, Fatzinger catches another tough break inside. Great positioning. Just went up with a nice little tip, but just didn't get the roll.
1:40 and running remaining. Whitehall by 4, and they have the ball. Clock.
Oh, and another new rule in high school basketball is the lack of action rule. They can dribble in around near midcourt. That little dash, that 5-second line, no longer exists. Oh,
Lesicki, 7th field goal for Pete. And a foul. This one will be on Gary. And that'll be... No. That's on Jamie Brett, excuse me, of Whitehall.
Watch Lesicki. He's calling a timeout. I think he's a little winded. I talked about him having an ankle injury. He has not worked out. What great control of that upper body. You see he's looking for a foul. The legs were kind of clipped out from underneath. Didn't get it. But they get a timeout here and an opportunity to rest. John, let me get back to what I was talking to a minute ago. In years past, you needed to create activity. You needed to get it by that little timeline. That rule is no longer in effect. It's called no lack of action rule, and now that is no longer in effect. You can stand out by midcourt with the basketball underneath your arm for the whole 4 quarters and not get a turnover called against you.
Very good.
So a couple of different changes this year to things for you to look for, and look for coaches to take advantage of a couple of those things. And I mean, really, when you go 4 corners, that's going to really open up the court where you can really work it at a half court.
73 seconds remaining in this basketball game. And Whitehall is up by 6 points. Whitehall wins this, and boy, this will be a big opening win for Zephyr, and for Ron Hassler.
Oh, it really will, and again, it's a little bit of an upset, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's Whitehall basketball is something that, these young men prime themselves for, and when it's their turn, they're ready to play.
Bang was right by the bucket. Gets it over to Aldinger. Aldinger up off the glass and in. It's only the 5th field goal for Jeff. 43-39. Now we're in a countdown. 50 seconds and counting.
Oh, and a tough shot by Aldinger.
Yeah.
Left-hander moving to his right. Uh-oh.
He intercepts it. Gets up over the center court line. He's liable to let it fly. Spangy. Underneath. Stevens has it. Stevens. 8th field goal for Andy. 43-41. 30 seconds and counting.
Good pass by Spang and good body control and discipline by Stevens.
Look out, look out. 21 seconds. Zephyrs turn it over. Central Catholic will have it back court. And we have a timeout. Charge this one to Ron Hassler.
Well, and again, the reason that Central Catholic is able to get back into the game is because of Whitehall turnovers. Now we're going to get a look at Aldinger here. Now look at him going to the right and then have to raise up into the defense and to kiss off the glass, and good for the 2 points. But the key, at setting all of that up is the defense. I mean, Whitehall now with 4 turnovers here in the 4th quarter, 4 in the 3rd. and they have led the nice runs. Now let's look again now. All right, we're going to look now at the next pass. This one might be the nice pass from Spang. Look at the good communication. You see Stevens is able to sneak along that baseline, but look at the good discipline and control. Allows the defense to leave their feet. Boy, and once they're up there, then you have him and just raises up and get a nice roll.
All right, so that's the story. 21 seconds remaining in the ball game. Whitehall leading 43-41. When time is back in, the Vikings will have possession back court. There you see Gary Spangler crossed away in a striped shirt. There's the picture. There's the story. Don't forget, we'll see you 1 week from tonight over at Veterans Memorial Gym. When Allentown Central Catholic will meet Liberty. All right, the Whitehall fans yelling defense. Stevens will work it in. Bang. Clock is running. 15 seconds. Allinger for three. No. Jones rebounds, and there's a foul. With 10 seconds remaining, the Zephyrs go to the line. I think it's on Spang.
Now, they won't go to the line. Here's this new rule now.
Okay.
That's only the 16th foul. You need to get to 7 now. So already we see a little bit of difference.
10 seconds remaining. 43-41. Jamie Dressel inbounds. He gets it in to Clock, and there's a foul.
Now that is team foul number 7.
That's on Spang.
Well, and you knew that that's what was going to take place. Spang going in trying to come up with a basketball, but commits a tough personal foul, and Greg Spang is a tough basketball player. Plays with a lot of intensity. He's been battling the flu a little bit.
And he'll leave with 5 personal fouls and scoreless on the night.
Look for better things from Greg as the year goes on. Battled the flu for the last week or so. Rich Baxa, second year. Sure.
Clock on the free throw line. Scoreless on the field. 3 out of 4 from the foul line.
Aldinger raised up. About 10 seconds to go here on that three-pointer. Nice job by number 50 Jones of controlling the boards and limiting Central Catholic to just one shot opportunity.
And timeout for Allentown Central Catholic. Whitehall was 17-1 last year, 23-6 overall, 17-1. They lost the East Penn Conference Championship to Easton, and then avenged that loss by whipping the Red Rovers for the District 11 Quad A Championship to walk off with the district title.
Well, I guess they call that coaches meeting at the beginning of the year the Liars Club, because nobody really, lets out what
everybody picked people.
Right. So anyway, well, this year, the preseason, and in the order that, now this is the coaches, they picked Easton 1, Allen 2, Central 3, Parkland 4. Parkland, by the way, a team that I think might surprise a lot of people this year. 5 is Whitehall, 6 is Freedom, 7 Liberty, 8 Northampton, 9 Peaburg, 10 Deeruff, 11 Bethlehem Catholic, and 12 Emmaus. We were talking about the league with the new 20-game schedule. Also, you have a couple of new coaches, George Isaacson at Deeruff, Carl Smartson taking over at Emmaus, and not a new coach, but a different job, Dan Kemener over at Bethlehem Catholic.
All right. Jeff Clock on the line.
Now, 1 will not ice it. 2 will ice it. It's a 2-point game.
9 seconds. 43-41. He got it. That's Clock now with 4 in a row after an opening miss from the foul line. 44-41. Central Catholic, another timeout. Their third here in the second half.
Well, you talked about Clock on the night, John, and big free throw there in typical Whitehall fashion. How many times in a year did we see a guy like Mike Buskirk step to the line and ice a game in that situation and not give you the opportunity to get back into the game after committing a foul where they hope that you miss? And Clock gets the first one, but like I said, the second one now real important. It's a 3-point Whitehall lead with 9 seconds to go. If Clock is able to convert on the second one, it should ice the game for them. barring an unforeseen circumstance here towards the end. But a typical Whitehall Central Catholic battle coming down again to the wire. It might be night number 1 in league play as you're looking at the Zephs. And I saw some familiar Whitehall players here from past. I saw Tony Medina and, guys that, have gone through these wars. And you don't forget those things. You don't forget moments like this. Clock, who has not seen a lot of varsity time, is senior 5'10", step into the free throw line with 9 seconds to go to tack one on. Now he needs to tack on another one.
All right, Jeff Clock on the line. 9 seconds remaining. Whitehall leading 44-41, and he can add another one. Played a good game tonight.
Really did. Good floor general, controlled the ball, the defense, really did a nice job. And he's the kind of guy that Coach Hassler's looking for to fill those shoes vacated by Buskirk.
5'10" senior, no. And there's going to be a foul, and this one will be on Lisicki. His second. 7 seconds. Only 2 seconds went off the clock.
Well, Central Catholic now needs 3. Now, Whitehall has 4 team fouls. Keep in mind they need to get to 7, so they still have 2 more to give here.
Oh, look at this. Do you believe that?
I'll tell you what. The officials are putting a second back on the clock. John, I don't know if Whitehall wasn't trying to foul there. They allowed Aldinger to wheel and deal and can a circus shot right there. Now to tie the game, they are winding the clock down. They're going to put 1 second on the clock. It will be Whitehall basketball.
Just about where was that from center line? I was watching the ball.
Well, it was halfway between the three-point line and midcourt. And again, I'm not so sure that Whitehall wasn't trying to take one of those fouls. They just never got in position to foul Aldinger. Again, they'd have to foul him before he got the shot off, because in the act of shooting, he'd get 3 free throws. But if they got him during the dribble, then they'd just take the ball out of bounds.
Bob Miller coming back into the lineup. I guess Baxa wants some height. They won't allow him to come back in. So Fatzinger has to come back in. Clock winding down to there. If they put that 1 second back up there.
Well, certainly here, I think you got to certainly keep an eye on number 32, Pete Lisicki.
At the end of regulation, we'll go into a 3-minute overtime period. Ay, 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 ay. What a way to start out the season. There's the crowd here, still talking about that shot, 3-pointer for Aldinger. That was his 6th field goal of the night and his 4th 3-pointer.
Well, there you see it. You see that he wheeled and he made a nice little spin move outside to free himself from the defensive pressure. And he does a smart thing there. You know, when you have range on a jump shot, you don't need to get right to that 3-point line where the defense is looking for you. Let it go from 5-6 feet beyond there and square yourself and maybe get off a better shot that's not in so much traffic, and it worked for Aldinger that time.
You know, and I'll tell you something, Mike. A lot of people in here tonight are probably sitting back and saying, he was lucky. Not really. That is usually his shot.
He makes a lot of unbalanced, off-balance shots. You're right.
And a lot of 3-pointers, so that's not out of his range. That is in his range. Where are you?
There we go, over there. There we go.
It makes him, that's his range, and that's the same as Lisicki. He can pop it from any place on the court, and when they can win, that's not a lucky shot.
No, you're right. I agree with that. I mean, under the circumstances, certainly there's a great deal of pressure on it, but it's not a shot that Jeff Aldinger has not ever made in his career.
Right. Okay, here we go. 3-minute overtime period. Number 1, Jones, and Fatzinger in the center circle. Who gets it? Central Catholic steps on the baseline. So Whitehall will have an opportunity to break this tie. Spangler over talking to the official scores about something. 2 seconds went off the clock. Inbounds pass to Jeff Clark. Clark guarded by Aldinger. Did you see Jeff's father here tonight?
I did not, no.
I didn't see him either. 17-footer up and in by Matt Zoke. That's his fourth.
The Zephyr led throughout most of the game. Central Catholic was able to get a 1-point lead at the end of the third quarter, but then Whitehall got the lead back through most of that fourth quarter until those heroics by Aldinger.
46-44 Whitehall. Central will have the ball underneath their own basket. Andy Stevens will inbounds. He does. He gets into Fassinger to Aldinger. Aldinger over to Brendan Gary. Andy Stevens. Aldinger. Jeff Stevens. Gets a good screen from Fassinger. Baseline. Bingo! Andy Stevens with his 9th field goal.
Real nice two-man deal there. Nice screen by Fassinger. Yes. And a nice touch by Stevens coming up on that baseline when the pressure did get to him.
And we're tied at 46. Almost a steal, but there's going to be body contact and a foul on Andy Stevens, his third.
Well, I think Andy's a little bit upset with himself. I think he read that pass all the way, but you see, the little hesitation on the pass made him wait a little longer, and then as a result, he got there a little late. A nice job by Zoke of coming to meet the basketball and creating that contact.
Matt Zoke goes to the foul line for the first time tonight. He has 4 field goals in his ball game. Substitution, Tim Cramsey back in the lineup for Central Catholic. There's Oak. Got it. That's his 9th point. (47-46) Central trailing in the ball game. 140. Aldinger. Gary. Look out. Turn it over. Zoke takes the ball away from him. Over to Lisicki.
Well, you have to love the courage of Matt Zoke. He's got the basket here in overtime and a big steal there. He made a couple mistakes at the end of regulation, but really coming up big here in overtime.
Foul on Aldinger. That'll be his 5th. And he has to go.
Well, and Lisicki at the free throw line will have an opportunity to increase the margin to 3, and certainly with Aldinger leaving the game, that does take away one of the 3-point threats. Greg Spang is already fouled out. Fortunately for Central Catholic, if there is a strength, it is at that guard position, but they're starting to even wear a little bit thin right there.
Mike Smith, 5'11" sophomore, into the lineup, replacing Jeff Aldinger, who leaves with 5 personal fouls.
Well, and Smith's first activity of the night, tough place to come on in here in overtime, so personal fouls now taking its toll as 2 Viking players have now fouled out.
Lisicki 1 out of 2 from the foul line tonight to go along with 7 field goals. 48-46, Whitehall. No. Look out.
Oh, we can't see the possession hour, so we're going to have to wait. The Vikes will get the basketball.
1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. 48-46 Whitehall. But Central Catholic, without Jeff Allinger, will have possession backcourt. Stevens inbound to Brendan Gary.
Look for them to set something maybe up with Stevens and Fatzinger on that little nice deal that they ran a couple of plays ago.
Foul against Gary, his second.
Take a look here. Good anticipation. Just a bad pass there, and then Central or Whitehall is going to scramble for the loose ball. Nobody coming up with it, but before that, the personal foul called.
And not the right man to put on the foul line. Lisicki. 2 out of 5. 3 out of 5, excuse me.
He's missed twice on the night and kind of coaxed that one in.
But it gives Whitehall a 3-point advantage. 4-point advantage, a big one.
See Stevens now controlling the offense out in front. Talked about the many positions he can play. Forward, point guard, he even posts up inside. Strong move there.
And he got it. Stevens with his 10th field goal, 50-48. Whitehall leading. Lisicki, 35 seconds and counting. Zoke. Oh, look out. Foul against Gary.
Let's take a look at a good, strong move by Andy Stevens. Nice, quick move with that first dribble on the left hand. Gets himself into position to convert on the 2 to draw Central Catholic to within 2 points.
I thought he was going to go backdoor that time.
Well, again, this is a key free throw. We saw Whitehall miss the second end of it in regulation time, allowing Central Catholic to hit a 3-pointer to send it into overtime. Now we'll see what Lisicki can do.
51-48 Whitehall, 28 seconds. Got it. That could do it.
I'm not going to say that. I thought Whitehall had this game maybe won 2 or 3 times in regulation, only to let it get away.
Stevens gets it, and he is fouled.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's still not over. This is a heck of an effort again by Andy Stevens. You'll see Gary trying to get something going there. Stevens now inside. You just saw him handling the ball out in front. Able to go then inside and come up with an offensive board and convert. And now he's going to have an opportunity to tack one on from the free throw line and cut the margin to just 1 point. It is right now Whitehall 52, Central Catholic 50.
Just 15 seconds remaining in this ball game. Time is back in. The Vikings will go to the free throw line. It'll be Andy Stevens, who has 3 for 3 to go along with 11 field goals tonight. 2 out of the 11 are 3-pointers.
Well, and he really has kept Central Catholic in the game.
No question about it. Played a great game.
Really has. The turnovers certainly were a key there for, well, there's Doc Horlocker. Getting a little airtime. Hoofed it.
You better return some of those jackets he has. He's walking around with there.
I like that nice turtleneck he's got.
Yeah, he took off a nice windbreaker, too.
Baba.
There's Gary. There's Gary, our man Gary.
He did a heck of a job getting his monitor going. That's right.
Getting a picture. All right, Andy Stevens, or Andy's right here. There he is. 15 seconds. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, they missed the keeper. And Whitehall gets it. They had it.
Boy, I'll say Whitehall really dodged the bullet. It actually went against them that the free throw was missed because they couldn't control the board.
That was an intentional miss, too. He aimed for the back rim. The 1 point would have been no good.
The 1 point was not all that big. You're right.
It was nothing. He needed the 2, and they got possession.
There's the opportunity that Central Catholic does not convert on. Then the scramble and the battle for the loose ball. You see knocked out of bounds by Central Catholic. Whitehall then taking charge, and then the foul committed on the inbounds pass.
So 50, that should be 52, 3 to 50. Timeout, Central Catholic.
Well, Coach Baxa looking for another rabbit maybe to pull out of his hat in this situation. Got to believe now if Whitehall can convert on that free throw line. And again, you're only at a 3-point lead. That 3-point line might be one of the best things they brought into the game of basketball to create this kind of excitement. If it wasn't for that line, we wouldn't even be in overtime. You see the story right there with Whitehall on top by 3, but with an opportunity to increase that to 4 with only 8 seconds to play. Elsewhere in the league tonight, Freedom was at Allen Durff at Parkland, Easton at Liberty, Northampton at Emmaus. We were tied at 44 at the end of regulation. Whitehall in a game that they have led from just about all start to finish. Central Catholic was able to get a 1-point lead after 3 quarters, but then Whitehall gained the lead back and controlled most of that throughout that 4th quarter, and then in the overtime jumped on top by 2 and has kept that lead to this point here.
All right, Zook back on the free throw line. Has 2 out of 3 tonight. He can put icing on a cake. Of course, we said that before.
Yes, we have. Like I said earlier, I think Whitehall has really missed 2 or 3 good opportunities to put this game away.
Zook, 6-foot junior. Saw some playing time a year ago. 54 to 50. Gary for 3. Has it.
Wow.
54 to 53.
And I think only the fact that Whitehall did not have to get the ball in bounds is the reason this game ends. Geary is perfect on the long-range bomb, and again, he does what I talked about Aldinger did. He raises up before that 3-point line where they're waiting for him, gives himself a better opportunity to convert, and he does. And now at this point here, with only 2 seconds left, Whitehall does not need to inbounds the pass, and as a result, they will pull out a win. And, you know, again, it's the same old story. You know, Whitehall with a record of 50-4 over the last 3 East Penn Conference seasons in the regular season is a team that year in and year out will have to be contended with. And it looks like that story is going to remain the same again. I mean, they have to gain a great deal of confidence, you know, starting 4 new players here tonight along with a young sophomore, Pete Lasicki, in beating Central Catholic, one of the teams rated to finish high in the East Penn Conference this year. For the Zephs, that will raise their record, not raise it. This is the opener, 1-0. 1-0 to start the league as Mr. Lasicki gives me the high sign, and they're off and running and out of the gates. For Coach Baxa and Central Catholic, their record will drop to 1-2. They will be playing Liberty on Friday night. Now, Liberty's at Northampton. Coach Baxa will drop to 1-2, and it will be 0-1 in league play. And John, I really think that this is maybe things to come in the East Penn Conference. I really feel that while maybe the overall quality of the league might not be as strong, I think from top to bottom, you might run into a league where parity is really going to be the key word, where on any given night, you know, you're going to see action like this from top to finish. I don't think there's going to be one team dominate the league the way Whitehall has in the past, where they went 17-1 last year and has been 50-4 over the last 3 years. I think you're going to see teams, you know, maybe your top team might have 3 or 4 league losses.
All right, are you ready to rock?
Let's roll.
Are you ready to roll? Here we go. At the end of the first quarter, Whitehall led 14-10. They outscored Central Catholic 10-8 in the second period to take a 24-18 lead into the locker room at the halftime break. The third period belonged to the Allentown Central Catholic as the Vikes outscored the Zephyrs 15-8 to take a 33-32 lead after 3 quarters of play. Look at Johnny Walton, Jr., our cameraman. In the fourth period, Whitehall outscored Central Catholic 12-11 to tie up the ball game at 44 and send it into overtime. In the overtime period, the first 3 minutes, Whitehall outscored Central Catholic 10-9 to win the ball game 54-53. Individual scoring honors for the night for Whitehall High School went to the Fullerton Slingshot, Pete Lisicki, 7 field goals, 2 of them 3-pointers. He had 6 out of 8 from the foul line for a total of 22 points. Jeff Clark, scoreless on the floor, 4 out of 6 fouls for 4. Joe Botcher, a field goal for 2. Matt Zog, 4 field goals, 3 out of 4 fouls for 11. Steve Jones had a good night, 6 field goals, 3 out of 7 from the foul line for 15. So the line for Whitehall, 18 field goals, including 2 3-pointers, 16 of 25 from the foul line for their total of 54. They had 11 personal fouls called against them. For Allentown Central Catholic, Andy Stevens had a great night. He had 11 field goals, including 2 3-pointers, 3 out of 4 from the foul line for 27 points. Jeff Aldinger backed him up, 6 field goals, including 4 3-pointers for 16 points. Mike Smith was scoreless. Brendan Gary had 1 field goal, a 3-pointer for 3. Greg Spang was scoreless. Tim Cramsey, a field goal and a foul for 3. Bob Miller, a field goal for 2. And Bob Fatzinger, a field goal for 2. So the line for Central Catholic, 21 field goals, 7 3-pointers, and 4 out of 5 from the foul line for their total of 53. They had 19 personal fouls called against them. In the preliminary ball game tonight, the Little Vikings won a JV game 56-52. So that's it. On behalf of our fine technical crew and my sidekick, Mike Zambelli, I'm Johnny Dady saying good night from Whitehall, where the Zephyrs of Whitehall edged Allentown Central Catholic in overtime 54-53. This has been a Super 2 Sports presentation. Good night, everybody.
I don't know. There are some problems going around the New York Giants system. So, Joe, since this is my last week, I want to get some predictions out of you. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who are the 3 wildcard teams?
Well, I think the Chicago Bears and the Lions are tied in the Central Division. I think the Bears will wrap the Central up. So Detroit will get 1 wild card. Atlanta or New Orleans, whoever doesn't win that race.
Predictions, Joe. Predictions. No, wait. Let's get to Washington's going to win. You think Chicago's going to win? I think Chicago's going to win. And who is
Atlanta's going to win the West.
You think Atlanta's going to win? I think I'll take Atlanta.
New Orleans, Detroit, Dan, Dallas.
Oh, you're crazy. You're nuts. You're nuts. Come on, Dallas. You will see as Dallas is pretty much wiped out of the playoffs this week when the Eagles beat them. You think they're going to come in Veterans Stadium?
Stay tuned now for the season premiere of This Week in Basketball with Bob Garris and Dick Tracy. Tonight featuring Gary Laubach. Next on Cable 4.
Hello, I'm Watson Skinner, host of Community Spotlight. I'd like to invite you to tune in Tuesday, 7:30, Thursday, 6:30. See what's happening in the Twin County area that makes us such a vital, dynamic community.
You are viewing Twin County Cable 4, your choice for community programming in the Lehigh Valley. Basketball is brought to you in part by Rarick Dodge, your local hometown Dodge dealer, owned and operated by the Rarick family for over 60 years. Go see Roger, Joan, or Gary for your next new or used vehicle purchase. Rarick Dodge is a Chrysler 5-star quality service dealer located just minutes north of Route 22 on Route 512 in Bath.
And welcome to This Week in Basketball. I'm Bob Garris, and to my left, Gary Laubach, our sports director, and color analyst Dick Tracy is on my right. And what we are going to do in the next 30 minutes or 28 or whatever it comes out to is very quickly go over the East Penn Conference teams and the Colonial and a couple teams in Centennial that we cover, and look at some of the names, talk about some of the people. And guys, nice to have you here for the first show of our 1991-92 basketball season. And you got off to a pretty good start the other night, Gary.
Well, we don't like to show entire games when we start.
Okay.
We don't want to stay real. We're not used to it.
Just the highlights, Gary. Right?
Yeah, we have an electrical problem at Whitehall, so Dick and I only had to do about half that game, and then since Dick was with me, it obviously went overtime, so we had a good one.
The nemesis was there, Bob. Automatic. Tell him to get that fifth quarter ready. He's here. We're going to go extra.
The overtime made up for it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we figured we missed some of the highlights, so we had
Dick diagrammed that Aldinger shot and sent it into overtime.
Yeah. The one you didn't see?
Yeah. We saw that.
We had that one? Okay. Alan, our first team up. We're going to go right to the meat of it, and let's take a look at the Allen Canaries and a couple of names there, and you guys can kick them around. I know one or two.
Well, Dick knows these guys real well. To me, it's Wayne Thomas and company. He's got a whole slew of people he can put out on the floor. John Don Moyer, Dick, 18 years coaching.
Yeah, Wayne Thomas is a dominant type figure. You know, he's the one you want to get out of the way when he's coming down the lane. He's the one you just look to go in a clutch situation. He's the type of individual who could dominate a basketball game. He is the biggest hands I've ever seen, you know, and sometimes that intimidates people. But what a supporting cast. You know, he has great size. You know, he's Wormkessel with great size. He just has great size all around. But can they shoot? That's the question. Our team's going to lay back and just play interior defense, Bob? Are they just going to pack it in the paint, or are they going to come out and have to challenge them? Now, one way John can compensate for that is to get a running game going. Just hit the boards, go down, and everybody can shoot layups, you know, that way.
Yeah, they may be the kind. First of all, it's highly unusual to talk about an Allen team that can shoot. And secondly, his best offense, if they can't shoot, maybe just throw it up, because they sure can rebound and they sure can run. And Wayne Thomas, your center, is probably as good on the fast break as he is underneath the basket. So
and they got athletes, Gary.
Yeah.
They got Nate Obgood-Chittick. They got De Jesus. They got Scanlon. You know, they got football players. They got guys out there who's going to get you the ball. They're going to get you the ball off the boards. And I'm thinking they're going to run.
Okay, and we'll say more about Allen because we're going to have them following our show tonight. They'll be over at Easton. Okay, next up are the Becca High Golden Hawks. We might want to say something about the long football season. Coach, you're over there.
Yeah, well, in a way, Danny had it pretty nice because he had that extra week. They didn't schedule anything with the possibility of the Hawks being in the state playoffs. And so he's had an extra week to prepare. And he's one of the few teams that hasn't had a game under his belt at this time. The big news out of there, of course, is the fact that Dan Kendra is playing basketball and will be at the varsity level. He might get some JV action, but he's going to be up and he's going to see playing time. Their other big man is Aaron Bachstein. Now, one name that wasn't on the board is the kid who can make it all go at Becca, and that's Pat Sabrinsky, because he's an inside, outside, perimeter shot, muscle guy. He plays a little bit of everything. He'll be more or less swinging from side to side. If Matt McGovern can hit the jump shot, Becca may be heard from.
Gary, Danny Kendra.
Well,
I mean,
the real key, Dick, is this year they have a good coach. Last year they were really hurting.
No wonder I was shaking when I said that.
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure.
This year they finally went out and paid some money and got somebody pretty good.
When are we on, Bob? When are we going to be on TV? Because I want to nail them.
I don't know. You can get them. I don't know. All right. Central Catholic, we saw them, some of it, the other night against Whitehall. Let's talk about the Vikings.
One of the first things I noticed, noticeable to me, is the fact that they got a great addition with a staff member, Bobby Gilbert. Bobby Gilbert, he's one of those nuts. He's a junkie. He just lives and dies the game of basketball. And, you know, when he isn't eating or sleeping, he'll be doing something with the X and O's, and he's really into it. So he is a welcome addition to the Central Catholic basketball staff. They lost so much of their game, Bob, not by graduation, but the fact that Sean McCullough is injured, and you're talking 6'6", and then Jared Fry heads out west to Parkland, and you're talking 6'5" there. So the inside phase of the game, the thing that probably would have put the Vikings at or near the top, and they still could be near the top, the inside game. Someone who can't key on a Spang at the point guard or key on an Aldinger who just happened to be a great perimeter shooter, you know. Now they got to respect those two guys more and sort of not worry too much about the inside.
Gary,
Tim Cramsey's coming.
Right, Cramsey I think will be there. And
Gary, when that three-point play came in, you love it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I think it's great for the game of basketball because it keeps people in the seats, and I think that's what it's all about, is keeping the interest. And I think Central's going to be a great team if they find a leader who's not interested in shooting, because Stevens and Aldinger, I think, can take care of that. And as Dick said, they've got to find an inside game. Without it, they'll probably finish around third or fourth.
Okay, before we go to Deeruff, how about the, and while we look at the Deeruff Huskies here, rule changes to 7 fouls. Gary?
I think it's going to speed the game up, although oddly enough it's had the opposite effect in terms of some of the early games. It's really hurt coaches who have been behind and haven't fouled. Dick probably would have had some problems with this rule, I think, because playing the kind of defense he played, where they never fouled at all, and in a situation where they had to foul to get teams on the line, may have caused them some problems.
Take care of the Huskies.
Yeah, the Huskies, Jason Moyer, sophomore, doing a great job in the backcourt. Tarek Rashawn, he's the point guard. He's the leader. 3-year starter. He's been around. He knows what he's doing. If they can find an inside game, Matt Mumma gives them a bit of an inside game, but if they can find an inside game, Bob, they can play pressure defense as well as anybody. Now, one thing that Isaacson did, he overhauled it in one way. He went to a totally different defense. They're man-to-man from start to finish. Now, how much they're going to get individual man-to-man remains to be seen. They took a whooping out at Parkland.
Right, okay. Georgie, of course, his first year. Now, let's take a look at the veterans, Stan Sutphin, and I know the Eastern Red Rovers did not expect to lose the other night.
Well, Stan's been there now for 23 years, and he came in with a highly touted team, but I think they were being touted by people besides Stan. Stan realized early on, I think, that he has some problems, and the problems are you have to play 5 guys. If this was a 3-on-3 league, this is the best team in the league. But it's a 5-on-5 game, and right now he's getting good play out of Fitzpatrick and Bennett, and of course out front with Bartlett. But he doesn't have a 4th and a 5th player. Liberty the other night played him a triangle and 2 and destroyed their motion, their movement. And the Reading game, they kept the ball out of Fitzpatrick's hands. He didn't even touch it. So Bennett's not really scoring very much. Fitzpatrick's not scoring very much. Bartlett's not scoring very much. They're not going to win ball games unless those guys can get into high double figures, not just double figures.
You know, a lot of times in basketball, you look for the 5th man. Stan's looking for the 4th and 5th. Yeah. Hopefully, he may find something. There's 2 football prospects coming up, Ryan Brandis and Merrill Fenner. And he said, perhaps those 2 kids will be a plus as my 4th or 5th man.
Okay,
Brandis
on to
is the kid out of Texas, by the way.
Yeah.
Who didn't,
from Texas?
From Texas. I didn't know they played basketball.
Well, they bring them in. Let's take a look at the Freedom Pates.
Surprise team of the East Penn. Maybe not many people are figuring on it, but already dumped Liberty in their own tournament, and they gave a pretty good game to Allen, although shooting woefully all night. They were still able to cope out there. They got a nice young lad in the middle. He's about 6'4", a kid by the name of O'Connor. Kevin O'Connor plays pretty well. Mo Davis is a great deal of experience that they're giving up. This is another team that'll haunt you man-to-man. Seems to be a lot of that coming up. I don't know, the defenses have, the pendulum has totally swung, and it seems that a lot of them are back to the college situation with a man-to-man and bench. I think they're utilizing a bench a lot more now than they've used in the past.
This could be the no-name team of the year. They don't have any real stars that anybody is going to have on the tip of their tongue, but they're a team that I think is going to cause a lot of problems in the league.
Okay, let's go across town to Liberty. And they're, of course...
They may have made their season already. Yeah. They upset Easton on Tuesday night, and that was a major, major upset. Another no-name team. In fact, when I gave my top 10 here for the show today, I didn't know whether to put Freedom above Liberty or Liberty above Freedom, so I put them on the same line. I thought that would be nice. That would keep all the Bethlehem people happy. But this is Richie Wesco has kids, and he makes them hustle and work hard. And hustle and work can win games for you, and they may win a bunch of games.
This is a very, very young team, too, Bob. Richie Wesco is finally drawing some fruits from the feeder system that he has established. Works really hard during the summer, and he has a lot of teams playing at a lot of places, a lot of kids getting involved. They have a brother combination with the name of the Major, is a sophomore and a junior, pretty nice size. He has a Maldonado, about 6'4". So he can come in, and this is going to be another deal where they're just going to keep coming at you with personnel.
Okay, let's go up to the Concrete Kids, take a look at Northampton, and I know Matt Moore's name is their coach, but not around at the moment.
Well, Matt's watching. He's going to be watching for a couple of weeks. Had a little bit of knee trouble. I guess he got scoped, and so Matt's going to be out probably through the holiday, Bob. But amazingly, so far they have done it without his scoring punch. They, too, have done it with variety. They've done it first game outside perimeter against Pottsville. Then they go in the league and they go inside and get some scoring inside from Smith. So they've been able to take advantage of whom they're playing and do just enough. And boy, when you can stay in close games and get experience now to do that, I think you're right. That too could be another freedom.
Early season games have been kind of baffling.
Yep.
People looked at schedules and looked at teams, and right now it's just not panning out the way people thought they would. A lot of people picked Easton to be at the top of the league, and right now, Easton hasn't been able to beat anybody yet.
How about Easton gets beaten by Reading? Allen goes down in the Coatesville tournament, loses to Coatesville, and the other night, Coatesville beats Reading by 23, 64-41, you know, so figure it. You just, those comparative scores just don't work.
No.
Well, I know what happened there. Reading had an off night. Let's go to Parkland. Yeah, we'll talk more about Reading later. Okay.
Like a Reading grad?
Yeah, here we go. Matt Zahn, and of course...
this, to me, Bob, may be may be the surprise team of the year. You've got great leadership in Zahn. They now have pretty good inside size in Fry, and they've got a nice cast of people that can play their roles very well. I think Tony Marsicano may very well have the sleeper of the league here.
Yeah, and he also has size. You know, you got Zahn, who you're going to turn loose in perimeter, you're going to turn him loose in driving, you're going to turn him loose dishing, he's going to go in and board. Here is an athlete. I mean, he does everything, he plays everything. He's even track, baseball, combo. You know, the kid does a little bit of each, and he's a pretty tough kid. He already scored 41 in a league opener. So he's sitting at the top of the league in high score, you know, and then you get Fry coming in there, you know, the bonus from Central Catholic. He hits for 17 and controls the board. You're right, Gary. This team.
I may be in favor of bagging the league and just letting Zahn play Hubbard, and we'll just see who wins the game.
Yeah. Maybe we can arrange that at a halftime show or something.
That would be nice.
Gary, you get to talk to Tommy Fisher over your way at Wilsonboro quite a bit, and here he thought he had things really going. He brings in a kid from New Jersey one year, and now he's ready, and now the kid's gone. So what happened here?
Well, you know, Tommy was going to struggle this year anyway because he had to find all kinds of people to center around Eric Leppert. And what happens is, all of a sudden, the hub is gone, and Eric Leppert's gone. Some family problems forced him to move. And so he's left, and now Tommy's faced with a tremendous rebuilding year. And Tommy's a good coach, so we'll see what he does with that.
Coach over at Whitehall.
Over at Whitehall, we got a taste of Whitehall last night, and it was typical. It was typical Whitehall in that they played the match. It was typical Whitehall in that they looked for the good shot. If there was one thing that was missing, it was the early foul shooting and perhaps a little bit of the ball handling. But I'm sure it'll come. Don't sell this team short. Pete Lisicki, probably one of the best around right now, and only a soph, and he's heady to boot. You know, not just score. He'll play the game intelligently. He is a really welcome addition. They, too, are shopping for a fifth man, Bob. Kid by the name of Ernie Jones has given him a great power game inside.